Overall, looking at a relatively flat start to the morning once again for futures, coming off negative showing for U.S. markets yesterday. We are dealing with higher inflation kind of lingering in the background once again as we saw data both yesterday and Tuesday showing that inflation running at multi-decade highs, including CPI number that came out yesterday. Again, a 30-year high on that one, 6.2% in October, up from a year ago, 0.9% against 0.6% estimated. So we did have all three U.S. indexes in the red yesterday, led by the Dow and the NASDAQ, 1.7% for the NASDAQ. All the FANG names to the downside yesterday. The Dow off about 240 points, the S&P 0.8%. So we'll see what happens today. A little bit more positivity lingering in the background today. We'll talk about Rivian, obviously coming up. Successful IPO yesterday, trading higher here in the pre-market. Very active once again. So we'll look at Rivian right out of the gate here. SoFi, Affirm, both big monster beats on their earnings. Huge move for Affirm. We'll have a look at that. And Disney opposite to the downside for Disney. That subscriber number on Disney Plus, not good. So Disney down about 4.5% here. It's Thursday, November 11th, 2021. TraderTV.live starts now. And there we go. Look at, well, we'll get the board up here in a second. There we go. Look at how things are shaping up so far this morning. We are in positive territory, bouncing back a little bit. But overall, relatively flat there for the Dow. The NASDAQ trying to lead the way again. Remember, we had 1.7% to the downside yesterday for tech stocks. So nice little bounce back here. TSX futures pointing to a higher open as well. Some positivity at the bottom end of the board there. Again, 3.5% for Ethereum leading the way. 1% for Bitcoin after all-time highs this week already for cryptocurrencies. Good morning, guys. It is November 11th, as we said, Remembrance Day here in Canada, Veterans Day south of the border, the 11th day, 11th month. At 11 o'clock this morning, we'll take a pause to remember. I was reading, guys, that here in Toronto, they're actually going to stop TTC, stop transit, stop everything for 2 minutes at 11 o'clock. So we will do our best to participate in that. But as for the market, lots to talk about again today.
Yeah, definitely a lot to talk about. I'll definitely shout out. Good day to remember all the veterans, of course. And got my poppy on, of course, talking to the daughter about that one. And like they're doing Flanders Fields.
Oh yeah. In
so,
school they know all about.
Yeah, you know how that goes. So it's certainly a good day. We're hoping for a good day in the markets. Thank you, Arun, by the way, for filling in the afternoon. Yesterday's show, or you heard you did a fantastic job. Well, the market sold off pretty heavily, so a bit of a bounce back here. Now there's so many earnings that we're gonna be talking about today, and it's like the up 15 to 20% club and like the down 15 to 20. There's so many names, right? Like we're gonna be looking at Beyond Meat, which that was a pretty big miss for them. Oh, Disney's only down 5%, but it's just a huge disappointment there. And of course, Rivian was a great trade for the open. I mean, it was a good trade on the open yesterday, and certainly should be again pretty active. It's shaping up to be a pretty cool day. Affirm, for being up 30%, it's just kind of like back to where it was before. Like you're gonna drop that hard in a couple of days and then just bounce right back in earnings. That's the market that we're in right now, and let alone Tesla, which Elon's not necessarily done selling those shares. He still probably has some more to go, but that made a bit of a rebound as well.
Yeah, no, it was good. Yeah, the afternoon wasn't too much of a sell-off in the afternoon, but yeah, yesterday's market was a pretty big sell-off there. We already are long in Rivian right now. We'll see where that goes. We're long SoFi. Man, we just tried to buy SoFi on that dip there into VWAP, and we put a bid at 54 and missed it. But right there now, it looks like it's trying to break out the upside. Rivian yesterday was a hell of a lot of fun. You guys know that. And there's a few news and notes here. We'll get over to PaySafe. I mean, what a disaster dumpster fire that one's been. That's been horrible. I just added AMD. I like that here today as well on the bid. So we're going to talk about a lot of these names. SoFi, wow, yeah, good thing we didn't sell the other day. Remember we talked about this, trying to make these highs. We talked about this yesterday, and then if we were lucky enough to somehow get SoFi back down here to 1950 or so, that would be a great long. But yeah, it's held up the highs. Good report yesterday. We'll talk all about their numbers coming up. It's on our watch list. Make sure you grab that. So I'm in SoFi right now, and I'm in Rivian right now. No real outs for SoFi, but Rivian, we're going to clock it out at 105 if it does come back to the downside. So here's Rivian. We just took a 108 break. We're down. It's a small position. It's in the pre-market here, so we'll see where it goes today. I mean, obviously that's the 1 day. You're not going to see much in there. And then the 1 minute chart, I just thought maybe breaking out right there could have been something. So we'll test there. We'll average in, and then we'll see. We'll get out of it if it breaks 105. But yesterday, Rivian, a lot of executions and a lot of fun in that name.
Yeah, almost taking the entire sector, entire group on its back today in positive territory. There is a little bit of news and a headline on Lordstown finalizing that deal with Foxconn. They're higher in the pre-market as well, along with pretty much everything else, as I said. Before we go any further, let's get over and say good morning to Miss V.
Good morning, guys. Happy Remembrance Day, everyone. Let's have another great trading session together. Please smash the like button and let's get it started, Brandon.
Let's indeed get it started, guys. Lots to get through this morning as we head towards the open. As we said, tons and tons of earnings once again. We talked about this one right at the end of the show yesterday. Dutch Bros, very successful IPO, recent addition to the market. Higher again, they rose after sales were up almost 50%. Not terribly active here in the pre-market, but a nice number right across the board here for Dutch Bros.
Yeah, that's so. I mean, you talk about successful IPOs. You know, this is exactly what one's going to look like. It's a nice, orderly, structured trade. Opens up, bounces like actually makes almost like a double up, pulls back in, holds 40, doubles up again, pulls back in like 25%, and then you're going to get the first earnings print. It looks like it could be destined. Just got into the CGen, by the way. Looks like it could be destined to break back out towards some highs. Now, I've made the mistake of trading Dutch Brothers in the pre-market before, or right at the open when the liquidity is just absolute, garbage. And it was horrible. Like, I had a great short, but it just spiked up like $5 at the open. It like wicked me out, and then that was the high of the day. So I kind of want to stay away from this one until we actually get an opening range, or at least a little bit more activity. But you look at this 70 area, if it's going to break that, there's some runway to that top, right? Like, you get some resistance maybe higher up at 77, and then 80 even. But certainly Dutch Brothers, could be a bit of a runner today. You have to, in this market, you have to resist the temptation to think that things are up too much to buy or down too much to sell, right? So I'm going to have a little bit of that thought with Beyond Meat today. And I think you have to put Dutch Brothers into that category. A firm could be different because it's actually finding some resistance, and that, it had a multi-day high that it's running up to today, although I still think it could break through. But Dutch Brothers, yeah, it's a wait for the open for me because the volume is just not there, but a strong IPO with strong momentum and then some good numbers coming through.
Yeah, we've seen Starbucks. Good look there on Dutch Bros. But we've talked about Starbucks buying them on the dip down to 104 on their earnings. Let's go Starbucks, and that's been a great buy for them. And that was a little bit easier because we could go back and you could see some support and resistance. Dutch Bros, of course, with its IPO just recently. Here's the 104 right here, right into. So this was Starbucks. Had a nice little dip down in there. 104 was the call that we had, and we had come down here to 104 before and sort of held this area. Sure, we dipped, obviously there's going to be some dipping opportunities there. But on Bros, we might not have that, but there's Starbucks right there. Should get a little bit of a bump as well today. But again, coming off here, some of these stocks need to settle down a bit. So Starbucks and Dutch Bros, obviously there's Bros. I think it was on New York, right? Yep, so up to 68, 69. Come on, chart. Up to 68, $69 here you're seeing on the daily range. Really no support or anything on the top. So I don't know if it's good enough to get to $76 here today. But you do have 70. I mean, 70 is just sitting right there ready to blow up. So if we can get that trade, then we'll do that. But like Neil said, with only 62,000 shares right now, the spread 30 cents, not really too interesting to me yet out of the gate. We'll take a quick look here. So two names that I'm all over here, PaySafe and Palantir, the top two. One good, one bad. Obviously, we'll look at that. Ford, a nice buy today. Roblox, it was down 14 or 15% yesterday. So after a 45% move, that is back in. And then Ford, we cashed them out yesterday above 20, which was nice. And we've been bouncing around there on the Rivian deal. So a lot of interesting names on here. And then, we tweeted out yesterday that we sold Disney, worrying, and we're going to get to Disney, but worrying that subscriber numbers would be off. We talked about that. And at least that one was a good call. So we'll look to reload this thing at about 160. But Dutch Bros and Starbucks, yeah, should be looked at today.
I saw DD Global there on that imbalance locator as well, up here 5.7% in the pre-market, guys, on this headline here. So Reuters reporting that the company plans to relaunch its app in China, and it anticipates this overall probe to be wrapped up soon. So pretty active as well as far as DD is concerned here. What it typically does, 950 seems to be a problem though so far for DD, a name we've looked at lots.
Yeah, I mean, we saw DD. Oh, is daily chart gonna load? Yeah, it looks like it's going to. Look, I think we talked about DD yesterday when it was making those power moves earlier in the morning. And now you're going to get the confirmation that, okay, well, maybe they're going to be a little bit out of the water. Now, sometimes you wait for things to base out. You made some higher lows already. This is breaking the 50 period. The first significant resistance rests at about $10, which could come into play today. As just a bit of a fair warning on the stock, just because I'll show you the level. Whoops, it's still RNXT because I was watching that one. Someone was asking about that. And nothing crazy happening there, just the stock pulling back. There you go. Yeah, so 950 and 951, as much as $10 sits on the daily as a resistance level. There's some offers sitting here, just a couple of pennies above the bid that are, 400,000 shares in the way, right off these current highs in the pre-market. So you kind of have to feel like if it's going to take those, okay, like probably could have just shorted in front of those and made a couple of shekels there. But if it's going to break out that 50 high, notice that there was like a 51 offer. But if you can get through these, DD's got some room to run to that $10. You're going to say up 5%. Okay, fair enough. But just this was a $17 stock. The debut, and we can probably go into why it shouldn't have come to market, the timing of when it happened, and then the crackdown literally right after. But that's all come and gone now. It's made a bit of a bottom base. Breaking that would mean breaking this 10 even, which has been resistance for a few months now. And it certainly seems like this could be the catalyst to get it there. Just watch out for that 50 break. It's easy to look at 950 as a high of the day and then want to take a 50 break, but there's that big order sitting at 51, so you might want it to clear that as well.
Rivian went to 25. Oh my God, I'm at 21. Okay, DD, you still have this high right here, so regardless of all the news, you can go back here to October 21st. You have 980, 990 there. So I think you fade any of this until that breaks, right? So I think if you can get a short into 970, 980, something like that, you can hit it against 10. So, it's not super exciting to me until we break through 10 there. But again, ride sharing, we've seen Uber. Look at Uber the last couple of days here, has been crushed. So, I don't know. It's not, come on, that's still the DD chart. It's been an ugly, ugly couple of days. You're down 10+% here in.
They got a lawsuit.
Yeah, in 4 days or something on Uber, right? So that's not great. But at the same time, I would just rather stick my money in an American company, to be honest with you. Like choose a Lyft or choose an Uber or something like that. They're both pretty depressed right now. Uber's pretty depressed. We just got to 48 on earnings, right? Boom. And then now you're almost all the way back. So, you can pick this up. If you can pick up Uber in the 40s, I'd much rather like that than any sort of a long on DD. I honestly, after Alibaba, after Tencent, these are monster companies with monster earnings and what I thought doing everything right, but they can't fight the government. So I'm going to stick with Uber here instead of DD. So I would rather wait for a pullback into 40 here, maybe 41 on this play, and then go with that rather than stick my neck out for DD. But hey, if it's a risky asset for you, then take a shot. But for me, no, I have too much other risk here, as you guys know about.
Go to Tesla, guys, just breaking through 1,100 recently over the past few minutes here, 3.5% in the pre-market. SEC filings showing that, in fact, Elon did sell roughly $5 billion in Tesla stock in trades carried out both Tuesday on that huge down day and then again yesterday. So he's down to a measly 166 million shares from what he used to hold in Tesla.
Yeah, this is a drop in the bucket for him. But he's got to pay the tax man. So raising those funds is what he had to do, and he's done it. And he managed to get some love from the Twitterverse as well with the way he spun it, and it's got everyone talking about Tesla during Rivian. During Rivian week, you had people talking about Tesla to begin the week, and I think it's why they didn't want to pay for advertising. Now, I still think you're going to have these lower highs be resistance. Tesla made such a gigantic run. I could pull a daily chart. You guys all know what it's going to look like. And as we break to the upside, there was a wipeout bottom at 1,000 where it was like just a capitulation. Everyone looking at that 1,000 mark. It broke down. The second it was a rejection, like the same thing, whether it's $1,000, $100, or $10, it couldn't break 990. right? And then it came back up, and then it was a reversal to the long, and then that's what ended up working out. But I kind of have the feeling that if we continue this move to the upside and try to recover all the way to that massive day where it broke down at 1180, that there's going to be resistance up there, and I'm not sure it waits till 1180 to be put in. I'm kind of looking at 50 to 65 as a zone where it could be safe to play a little bit of the short side of the trade. In terms of bottom picking, I don't love anything other, unless it's that big 1060 level from yesterday, or it's 1,000 even, or like a 1025. Those are the only places, and I'd want to see consolidation first. Like what burned me on that capitulation day was instead of waiting for it to consolidate at my level, I just kind of played the level instead, and that was obviously a mistake. So Tesla's going to be in play. I feel like Rivian is going to be better to trade today. Maybe even, heck man, I mean, Lordstown might be a bit of a mover on the little Foxconn news. I feel like if I'm going to short something, I probably will do better with Lordstown. But if we get high enough on Tesla, it's going to be a fade at some point.
We were 4 cents away from getting a 106.20 bid that we were bidding. I don't know why we were bidding 20. It goes on to 106.25 right here on Rivian. We're now 70 cents in the money here. It just went up $1. We could have taken that out at 109. We're not. We're going to wait for Rivian to settle down. I think somewhere in here could be possible today. 112, 113, something like that. And then after that, we'll see about a higher play here for Rivian. So we're already in this one. We're already 60 cents in the money. We're in SoFi as well. So I'm not even going to look at Tesla today. I'm just going to be looking at Rivian. And it's just, I don't know, I think it's way too, I mean, the valuation is nuts at these levels, but whatever, we're going to play the momentum and we're just going to watch it. So if it breaks through 105 here, we've talked about this over and over again today, at least I have 105 and that's 105.60 right there, but I'm going to play 105 just as an even number. So if that breaks through, we're going to get out, we're going to average it now at 106.50. So look, I'm positive for this name. And if we're long at 108, so if we can get out at 112, that'll be $4. We'll take that, and then we'll wait to see what we do from there. So that's my target in this 112 area. I mean, it's $1 in the money right now. We could take it, but we're not going to. We'll hit the bag now because it is in the money, but it doesn't mean that we're taking it. So I'm going to wait to see if Rivian goes up a little bit more here. This could completely fall on our face. We still have 45 minutes before the market even opens. Remember, these are very, very risky positions. You don't necessarily want to take these trades in the pre-market, but we're just going to try to play some momentum, put on a few shares, see if we can hit a home run. And if not, I mean, it's well worth the risk here. We'll take a 106.50, still the same target there with a 105 out. So I think risk reward here, that makes sense for that. So I'm going to be looking at Rivian today. You're seeing bumps in Fisker, Lucid, some of these other names. So we talked about why that would be. Yeah, EV names going to be looked at today for sure.
A little bit of a scheduling change this morning. We're going to bring Arun in here right now and get a check of the overall market. And then we'll bring our friend Luis Barbado from Barcelona, Spain, coming up at 9 o'clock. So a little flip-flop. Arun, what are you looking at today?
Futures, we're recovering a little bit. You see Tesla coming back. So you see generally most tech is coming back. Tech was sold off quite aggressively yesterday. So as tech comes up, so does the futures market. S&P is up just over a third, and NASDAQ is almost at 0.8. So as we come up, we're running into some resistance. So I'm looking for potential fades or shorts at certain areas if we can get a setup. I'm preferably with the market sitting just underneath 46.60. I would like to see this market get above maybe around 63, 64. And if it starts to fade out a little bit, I think the shorts could be in play here. There's some previous support that could be worked as resistance, which is what I'm looking for anyways. So with 70 as my stop. So the next 10 points up, if there's a trade, it's got to set up. That'd be a great risk reward ratio, right, to the downside, because I don't really have a whole lot of support, at least until we get down below 40. So you're going to get at least 20 points or so if you get the trade here. Again, we're waiting for it to set up because it does look like there's some buy side strength for now. That could change very quickly once the imbalances come out, I believe at 925 now for the NASDAQ. So keep an eye on this as we come up. There's some resistance that we got to get through. If we can fade it, that'd be great. Above 46.70, we've still got that 46.90 level that we were looking at since yesterday. And obviously the top end is 47.15. But for now, though, I think the 70 is good enough. Given how much resistance is there, if we're going to fade, we should probably be fading soon. If not, and we run right through, then this market actually might be in store for a recovery day. And at that point, you are looking for longs, right? And again, the support that I've got is 46.35 is the first line I've got down there. So if we kind of go through 70 and then come back into some low 60s, high 50s, I think that you can maybe catch the bounce from the long. and then go for the 90s again, right? So that's what I'm, it's a delicate situation given the way it's moving. It's easy right now because there's one level above and you're looking for a fade, but if it breaks through, it's a little bit more complicated on how you enter and what your risk reward ratios are. So I'd be a little bit more patient with how you trade if the 46.70 ends up going. But for now, though, it does look like buy-side momentum, and we're just looking to see how this market trades above 46.60.
Great stuff. Thanks, Arun. We'll check back in again tomorrow morning. We discussed a couple of the other EV makers this morning, Lucid, Fisker. There's Lordstown as well, and even Nikola up here in the pre-market, guys. One of those days when, an overall group is moving, maybe the focus going to be on a Rivian. If somebody wanted to look for opportunities elsewhere, like Lucid, for example, actually looks pretty good here in the pre-market, trying to push back towards highs.
I was like, is he going to say Lordstown or Lucid? I was looking at Lordstown. But Lucid, and we sort of talked about this, like the sympathy plays in yesterday's action leading into, obviously, the Rivian debut. And, Lucid Motors had already been making a bit of a pullback. And we can talk about this because some of it had to do with, that big-time flush on Tesla. But, when you made that bottom in Rivian, Lucid's is going to be what seems like a little bit more deep. Now, this looks pretty interesting to me on the 15-minute because there's some obvious levels that I think are fades at 45. I think you can definitely see some wick support at 40 even. I was probably going to lean to looking more at Lordstown today just because if I had to pick something that if it was going to go up and it's like that's going to be the one that you favor to the short side of all of these names, it's likely to be Lordstown for a lot of reasons. There he goes. I just loaded that gap in the chart. There you go. It looks a little bit better now. You can see that 45. Like this is a couple of times. Twice a day, the last couple of days, you found resistance at 45 even on Lucid's. What probably makes it look so good. You got a potential to break out at a high. And if it does that, fair enough. I'll probably looking to fade the 45 even, and that's the play I would be looking at. And I'm watching a firm which could be very close to breaking a bit of a shelf. And just because it looks like it could be happening right now, I'm going to skip quickly to Beyond Meat, which I wanted to see it hold this pre-market high for a fade off of that level. If not, hold 80 and for a fade off of that level. Currently, there isn't any selling at either one of those two levels, so we'll check in to make sure. I want to be joining selling in the pre-market as opposed to just trying to pick a top and then have it run me over.
Okay, so we're talking about cars there. Obviously I'm into Rivian right now. We've been talking about Fisker. I think an interesting name today will be Ford again into this space just because they were moving around a lot yesterday. They did over 100. They did over 100 million shares here yesterday, and then obviously a lot of the hype here for Rivian. We talked about that. We actually got out some shares here and tweeted about it, and now it's back down here to 20. So back through 20, down to 19.10 yesterday, 19 even. Those were great longs. You guys saw us trade that in the afternoon show, so that was good. And then now today you're starting to sort of get back to where it's going. I still think a $20 target for Ford is pretty reasonable. So I actually don't mind shorting it if we can get into this level against this 2020 level here on Ford. So let's watch out for that today. I think that's going to be a reasonable call. Quick check in on the imbalance locator here. Still Palantir as a buy. We're waiting for third day, which would be today, to buy them. But yesterday you did dip down to 22. That's still Ford. I think you dipped down to almost a 22 even. Yeah, you did there yesterday, 22.13. And again, you saw us pick some of those up in the afternoon show to get back to the upside. So right now, Palantir looking to struggle through earnings, but that's what always seems to do. And then there's Ford. Sorry, that's what I was looking for as a buy. So Ford and DD, we've already covered those both bids right here into today. So we're going to be looking at a whole bunch of names, and there's also nice names there on the upgrades and downgrades board. Some very, very common ones that probably you guys are holding. So let's go have a look at there. Surprised about DraftKings. It's pretty low.
Yeah, we'll keep the automotive theme going over on this side. The Chinese EV makers all on the upgrade side today. NIO, Li, XPeng here. NVIDIA as well to the upside. There's Beyond Meat, Disney, DraftKings, and our friend Wish rarely makes an appearance over here, but again, that side, guys.
A friend of mine. Brandon told me this story about a golf club, or someone bought a TaylorMade golf club, swang the club, and then the head went off, and they called TaylorMade. They're like, wait a second, we don't sell anything on Wish or something like that. So I don't want to, I know, look, like I'm holding the bag on PaySafe, and some of you guys probably doing the same on Wish and some of those other names. So hard to talk too negatively about it. But I did want to, well, we can, but I'll talk about my own positions as well. I said I probably wouldn't even add PaySafe at 5. It's all the way down to 5.15. Okay, we didn't do any of the super chats here today, so I feel feel that we have to do that because we never want to ignore that. Thank you so much, Charlie Brooks, for that. Buy, hold, sell. So I don't own any of these except for the one in the middle. And again, it's not a huge position. We told you we were waiting for November 10th to come through before we finally decided to do something with this. So now the only thing we can do is hold it. So buy, hold. Would be for PaySafe. You can't sell this low. The management's an absolute disgusting joke. I hope that eventually at some point they replace them. Maybe they do. We'll see that. Another one from our Swiss friend here, Christian. Thank you so much. They're from Zurich. He is loving all animals right now. Dogs, cats, hamsters, horses. You may need more than 15 Swiss francs to feed a horse. But there you go. Birds, fish, everything. I don't know if it's National Pets Day. I'm not sure what that is. But I believe in you as well, Christian. And I'll say what's up to both of my pets, William and Belle. What's up, as you guys are probably watching because it's on the big screen most likely. And then right here, thank you to Alex. You've always been a friend of the show. So I did want to give you a big shout out there as well. Thank you for the $20. We're working really hard for you. And we're back every single, we love SoFi. SoFi is going to be a good one. Should we average down on PaySafe? We'll get to all this, Bilal. That's Bilal? Bilal. And, we'll get to all that on PaySafe. And you know what? I don't have much to say about it other than, we're gonna have to wait on PaySafe. I mean, it's down to $5. This came public as a SPAC at 8. So where is it? PSFE. I mean, we will. It's actually not on our watch list, but we can talk about it here quickly. It's on a New York name. This came out at $8. It's down to 5. Our average price is actually a little bit north of 8. I think it's 11 and change or 10.50 or so because we were buying this when it was BFT. And it's just been an absolute disaster, down 28%. Some of the numbers for PaySafe, and they miss on revenue. They guide lower. Just big misses all across the board. They didn't have anything nice to say. As you can see, PaySafe the SPAC was at 8. So I don't know why. Maybe this is the day right there, this big volume. I'm not sure, but it didn't come out at 18 or 19. So we'll have to see what's going on with that. But needless to say, this is a bad one. So we're out half on this. Like I said, my price is in here in the 10s. We were recently buying at 7. You heard about that. We talked about that. And then we were waiting to make a play today. But this is an uncharted territory here for PaySafe. So do I think it's worth picking some up as a starter position? Why not? I mean, it's down here to $5. How low can it go? Oh, yeah, that's right. 0. So we'll wait to see where it goes from here. Maybe there's going to be some support at 5 today as I zoom down in here. I can't even see 5 yet. So when that comes up, maybe there's going to be some help there. But we'll trade this throughout the day. What I'm actually looking for on PaySafe today, now that I have you guys here for a bit, not too much longer, is if we can get like a wicked bottom. So basically, just someone comes in, sells couple million shares, down near 475 or 5 or whatever the price is, and then all of a sudden you get an acceleration back up to the upside. That will be a good note to look at here as a day trade. So that's what I'm focused on right now for PaySafe. I have it up on another screen, hoping that we get a flush bottom and then we can punch it long. So that's what I'm looking for there.
So I got one small request in the chat because this happens all the time, and because EVs are part of the game, if you're going to type in GM, I know it's the morning, so we need to know if you're saying good morning, in which case, thank you for everyone who always says good morning and types GM, or you're actually asking about General Motors, because I know it's a boring stock, but
someone put that in?
After I saw someone type GM to me, and I was like,
that means good morning.
I know it's good morning. I'm like, well, okay, well, in the off chance it was GM. We never talked about this one, but I think it doesn't have any of the meme hype. And the reality is, at this particular point, it's got to be undervalued. I'm only bringing it up because you look at it at these levels, right around this 60, trying to break out. I can pull back the daily charts just to quickly show you. And with all the explosion that you're seeing in all of the other related names, I mean, at some point, this is going to have to go with them. If you're going to continue to see this rise, it's going to go and it's going to break those highs. And I'm thinking about buying some more shit. I mean, if it dipped down to the 50 or the 200, I'd probably buy them in that regard. But I think even breaking out of the 60 range that it's been putting in, getting through 61, which the last couple of days has been a bit of a problem, I think that could be a go zone as well. I did get into that Beyond Meat position when it failed at 79.5. Just got in at like 78.85. I'd take one more shot. If it popped up, failed at 80 again, I'd get into more shares. It is the pre-market, bit early. I'm just wanting to fade Beyond Meat. I know it could fill the gap, but I mean, it was a pretty bad report.
All right, guys, Luis Barbado, as promised, joining us from the Day Trade the World office over in Barcelona, Spain, to discuss some opportunities for Thursday. Once again, good to see you, Luis, as always. It's earnings season. We're getting to the latter end, or the ending stages of earnings season. Still tons of opportunities, tons of volume in this market. What have you been looking at lately?
Yeah, tons of opportunities. As you say, a lot of gappers with the earnings. Not only up, a lot of gappers down, like Beyond Meat today. So today we're checking 3 stocks out of our radar, usually because of the price. AFRM gapping up, rejects $175. So let's see if it breaks to all-time high. So we see a rejection down to 171.68. Beyond Meat is a little bit too much down in our thoughts, 18% down, now 70% down. We're looking for buying the dips, 76, 77 supports. I think we're going to feel a little bit the gap there. And on the last side, Roblox, again, very active today pre-market. Those 3 kind of expensive stock, and then we look for the small caps usually.
And let's talk about some small caps here, Luis, because it's been, I mean, this is kind of typical for an earnings season, right? We get a whole bunch of focus kind of shifting to whatever the report is or whatever the hot report is for the day, and less attention being put on the small caps of the world. That being said, there are a few today that grabbed my attention anyways.
Yeah, you're right. There's a shift focus to earnings when this season comes. That means we have less small caps active, but if we have 1 or 2, everybody's going to be there trading, so they have a lot of volume. Today, we are looking for a 3rd day AVGO, very active and very good to scalp. This stock yesterday we saw a run again to 70.50 and down to $15, so it's going to be active today as well. CGEN, sorry, $7 support. It's important stock today as well, and we're going to pay attention to fossil today. I think that's the main watch today. 33% up with 90% institutional ownership. So if it doesn't break 19.50 cents resistance, we think we're going to see bleeding to $16, $15, covering a little bit the gap up. Very high institutional ownership for such a huge gap up.
Yeah, it was interesting. I was actually kind of surprised at the fact that Fossil is not only a small cap, but under $1 billion even in market cap. So will be interesting, relatively highly priced for that kind of market cap area. Always great information as always. Luis Barbado from Barcelona, Spain. I hope it's warm there because it's certainly not anymore here, Luis. Great to talk to you as always. We'll speak again soon.
Thank you. I would say it's cold, but it will be not very honest to you. It's like 15 degrees. It's cold for us here.
As I thought. Have a good one, Luis. Let's jump into the watch list, guys. If you're looking for the absolutely free to you watch list every single day, that is the link you need to go to pick that up. You can use a QR code this week, brought to you by MarketScreener.com. If you are looking at or trading European markets, specifically, a lot of great content when it comes to the European markets on MarketScreener.com. Go check them out. Let's talk about one that Luis just mentioned there, Affirm, guys, because wow. What a move here for AFRM this morning. If you remember going back about a month or so ago, they announced this deal with Amazon, but it was for a certain number, I think was the language they used, of clientele who are purchasing products, obviously, on Amazon. They've now expanded that to basically everyone who purchases anything $50 or higher. You can put it on buy now, pay later, guys, with Affirm. Yeah,
I mean, look, obviously, for online purchases, you ever heard of Amazon? Yeah, they're kind of a big deal, sort of, maybe.
Who?
I don't know. Amazon? Who?
Oh, Amazon, Barnes and Noble. Yeah. The book guys. Yeah.
And this space is this space is gigantic and it's growing. I think it's like the one I was trying to come up with yesterday, that British one that's coming to market, Zilch, I believe it's called. That was one that's stretching my mind. They have a really cool way of doing things. It's not onboarding with the retailer, which is what Affirm does. That's why they get deals with an Amazon. But this Zilch is trying to do it so that you onboard with them, and then you can purchase anywhere without them having a deal. So I found that very interesting, but it's only going to be a British stock for now. So, and it's not even to market yet. But Affirm, it's a monster move. Like, there's no question about it. Like, you're not gapping up 20. I mean, it was almost 30%. Now we're looking 23 because it broke 165. But you're not going to gap up like that and not consider it impressive. But this is exactly where it was a couple of days ago when it made that hard top at 175. So the lower high got respected at 171. And this is why I came in today thinking at least a little bit bearish. Now, obviously, I'm not going to get, it looks like I'm not going to get a chance at that rollover trade that I love so much, which is a pop-up fail at the high, which is your 171. That's a lower high resistance, and you got the nice little potential head and shoulders, and then breaking the bottom. So that could have come and gone here. It doesn't mean that there's not a momentum sell opportunity, but if I'm not going to get the setup I want, then I'm not going to sit here chasing it down to 164, 165. I wanted this, with like $2 or $3 worth of risk, not 7 or 8. If we can find some support, I mean, I came in and said I love 155 to 160 if it gets into this range. I kind of feel like it should have trouble with the affirmation of this partnership with Amazon. It should definitely be able to find a bit of a bid down here, even if there is some selling. So I'm looking to dip by 55s into 60. It's a wide range, but we'll let it travel in there into the open before digging too deep. And I still have 171 as resistance. So if it does want to pop back up there, I can short it in front of that.
Yeah, I put down here 160 or so bid area for a firm. I mean, I still like it to take out the top here, but it is coming back in. It was a monster number. Obviously, we talked about that. I think it's nice to see some clarity on Shopify deal, on the Amazon deal, what they're going to be talking about there, the $50 and so on and so forth. I think it's good, but I mean, at the same time, I don't think people are going to use PaySafe, or not PaySafe, as PaySafe just breaks 5. I'm just noticing that. We tried a long there at 05 or 06, but as you can see, it did break it there. So now it's trying to get back through 5. I don't know if it will. But a firm right here, like we mentioned, yesterday was a big dip down into 151. This is the one-day chart here. A firm closes okay. I don't know if this is even accurate, how low we went down yesterday. Yeah, that's what I was going to say, 132. I don't see that's right down there. It was spent too much time down there. I don't know why that candle is green there yesterday, but okay. So down here, 130, what a big move upside. So we're forgetting about all that. I don't know. There's really not going to be too many levels here for a firm that we can look at. That's why we just go into here into 160. And if you break 160, then you get into this 158 clutter, and then we start to go to the downside. So I still think there's going to be profit taking. I think it's going to be similar to Roblox a little bit, where Roblox had that big day. They kept going up and then got faded a little bit. I think a firm's already been up here, just like Roblox has been up to 105, 110 before, and then now you're seeing Roblox back to 98. So I still think a firm rests its head somewhere around here, 155, 156, for still a big monster quarter, monster everything, nicely done. But you can see, though, some of the fintech names, like what we've talked about, SoFi's upside, but PayPal's in the penalty box, Square's in the penalty box. Like a lot of these names right now on this side, not doing great, but of course a firm has such a unique business model that, they signed with the big boys. I think the Amazon deal is good until 2023, so there's a little bit of love there for that. But let's wait to see what happens. I still think we rest somewhere around here, 154, 156, but I think it's worth taking a shot at this long, around 160. And then, of course, we're always looking for pre-market breaks. So, it's not, normally I like a pre-market break if it kind of barcodes up here, but that's not what's happening right now. It's kind of just fading itself back in. So I think we got to wait for something around the 158 mark before we put on a real position. But I don't think it's horrible to try this at 160. This is going to be super violent into the open. So, you could wick down, honestly, I don't want to say you could go down to 150, but, if people want to come in and sell this, because they're long, look, the only theory for me on why people would sell this is because they're long from yesterday. They took a risk on the earnings, they won, and then you may get some selling. And then that's what's probably happening right now. And I think that if people are like, okay, you know what, I'm going to sell the firm, well, then where do I want to buy it? So that's why we look at this and say, okay, if I sold off of a nice win from yesterday, which 25% in one day is not bad, where then does the selling stop? And they say, okay, this is too low to sell even more. So that's why we look in here, 156, 158. I think anybody that has sold may rebuy them in this area. So that's where I am for a firm. We talked about, look at PaySafe, man. We took a shot. Here, let's see this. We took a shot on PaySafe here on the 1 minute at 5. Yeah, that broke, and now you're down to 490. Just like I said, I have nothing but, egg pie, whatever on my face on this one. We told you we would wait. This is why we were not buying more of PaySafe. I put no more money in this in the last 3 or 4 months. Whatever. I bought it at 7 recently to get the average price down, but not that much. My average price is still 10. So this is chopped right in half right now. PaySafe continues to be a complete disaster. We'll watch that. I'm still waiting for that break back to the upside. We break through 5 now. Maybe I'll take another long through 5, but that'll be the last straw on that one. And then Rivian right now, $1.50 in the money on this long. Again, what No, that was the dip. Okay, yeah, we didn't dip back in. So I'm still waiting at 106.50 here, using 105 as the bottom. But Rivian, my target 112.
Whoa.
That offer's out there, 112.50. We'll see if we can make 4 clean on Rivian.
Where the players dwell at 112. But sorry, Brendan, I got to get the PPSI here for a quick second because it just broke 850. I was short 40s. Out, reverse, long at 50, and it just pushed up to 875. I took some out. $9 was level on the daily chart where I think it could be a fade again, but strong mover this PPSI.
Rivian next here, guys, on the watch list this morning as well. Comes to market at nearly $100 billion valuation yesterday. It was well worth the anticipation, well worth the wait once it did finally open. Gave you all kinds of opportunities, both directions, as you were saying there, Sean, just trying to push back towards highs here, 109.50 right now.
I still think they can open things up a little more timely, but I get it. Like it was worth it from a trading aspect because it was exciting and all that. But you know, I'd rather see these things open up at 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock, not 1. Like that's ridiculous. But either way, there's some levels to work off of. I'm a little bit different in thinking that 105, just because I look at 104.50, which is the afternoon high, and I like that turn that support into resistance into support. So it could break this 105 level, get down to 104, and then that target range, because that's a 104.50, like 104 to 105 would be like that target entry. If it gets below 104, I would basically give up any dip buys. It's sitting here, and again, you have this wick high from when it held like 106 in the bottom end. So 106.75 open, it then held the open price, bounced, wick high at about 110.5. So a 110 break, a 111 break, definitely in the cards here. And until you break through that, you know, I'm going to be ready for that dip buy down to 105. If it breaks through the top, I think I'm going to throw out that dip buy idea because clearly you're making a breakout style trade there. But I got a bid into the open. I'll be looking for the turn on Rivian. Sean's already in it. I'm looking to get into it. And yeah, I mean, I'm still in that Beyond Meat. I'm in that CGen, by the way. If it breaks like 30s, I'm out. And then PPSI. That just came back to that 650 after it's turning around at 675. Or sorry, 850 when it turned around at 875.
I don't even know what we were talking about there. I'm having to book some vacation days here apparently, so I'm trying to find out some good days on that one. But yeah, I'm still looking at Rivian here, and I don't think we've gotten to Disney yet, but we've talked about that a little bit, and hopefully we'll get to that soon. Disney's still at 163 and change. You can see right here on the imbalance locator, PaySafe still a negative Nancy here, 500,000 shares to sell. So we'll see how far down this one goes. Palantir still there as a buy, so is Ford. There's your SOS, not yours, but a lot of people that trading SOS. We had a halt there the other day. Crypto right now, so Rivian's $1.30 in the money. Just a quick look at crypto, not great right now. Down to 64, so this is a decent, like, you know, I don't want to say that this is you know, the end of the world here, but this is a decent pullback, man. That's almost, you know, that's 5% or so from 70 down to 64. I mean, not really. I guess it's a little more than 5%, but you're getting back in here, 64 and change. So let's wait to see what does happen here with crypto and some of these names. I'm looking at Hut 8. I'm looking at a few other names that, you know, not just looking to pick them up in my own account, but maybe as a trade here today. So we'll watch out for Bitcoin. This is a 1 hour. Let's check out the 1 minute just to see what's been happening here. And we can always look at Ethereum and things like that as well, but they're kind of trading lockstep right now with some negative news here. You were talking about, what was it, Islam?
The Indonesian,
yeah.
And again, I'll bungle it if I even try. It's some kind of Islamic board in Indonesia has basically said that it's against the tenets and now illegal essentially, or wrong. So I mean, there was a spike down yesterday, and it appears that's what caused it. This could create, I mean, if this is going to actually extend further down on this news, which it might be quite significant, then I think there's a decent chance. There's a breakout on Rivian. It just took that 1050 area, so I just got into the long. So forget about the dip buy. But I think there could be a really good buying opportunity if this extends a little bit further on crypto. So maybe this creates an opportunity for us. I don't know. I can't really even speculate as to how big of a deal that's going to be. I would tend to think it could be a big one, but I think what remains to be seen. But if we extend this fall, you know, another 5% down, I mean, give me a break. It's going to be buy.
Go to Disney here, guys. All you really need to know is the subscriber numbers, 2.1 million versus 10.2 million expected. So very, very wide miss there on the Disney Plus subscriber number, 6% here for Disney.
You guys all talked about in the chat yesterday when we were joking around about like nobody pays for Disney, and people are like, yeah, I got it through this, I got it through that. So sometimes those sub numbers, it's like, it's bad enough to disappoint on them, but when everyone doesn't even trust them in terms of being legitimate paying customers, then at the end of the day, you're going to get beat up. Now, all I'm going to talk about here is if 160 breaks, I'm looking down at just above 150 for potential support level. I think if 160 goes, it gets pretty ugly on Disney. I think it's a fade if it bounces up to like a 167 level. For now, you have some runway down to that 160, so I don't really see an awesome trade that I like the same way I'm already looking at involved in Beyond Meat. I don't really see the same thing setting up unless Disney were to make a move into 167. But if it does absolutely start to flush, 160, 150, 151, 152, somewhere around that range could be good levels.
Okay, guys, so, here it comes right here. Before earnings, we talked about this. This was yesterday at 133. Took some off the table here with Disney, right? I feel like the risk was to the downside. I hope some of you took that advice. And if you did, then you're cashing out. And thank you, because some people messaged me and said that they did exactly that. Look at Rivian, $3 in the money. Good trade on this one. We're still 112.50 target area on Rivian. And so, so we win on this one. And again, the amount of money that we have in Disney compared to PaySafe is laughable. But again, Disney's in our longer term account. So we'll hit the hot dog for the sell yesterday at 175.50. That's a good one. We will be picking this back up. People have been asking me where, so thank you for that as well. I think 160. So, I will be a buyer again at 160. Like I sold Coinbase at 360, right? It dipped down to 310 yesterday, unable to buy it back. And I think that's the problem here is that, if you sell Disney at the top, basically the top over the last 6 months or so. We did have this 185 there, but right in there, I guess not the past 6 months, past 2 months. And then, you have to buy it back at some bottoms if you still like the name. So this is still a major, major holding of mine. And I think it was 5. It probably went down to like 7 or 8 on my account there. So we're still long Disney. We still love this name. But again, it's too expensive. It's much more expensive than Netflix. Obviously, they have the parks aspect to it as well, but they don't deserve this PE right now. They're down 6%. They'll continue to get crushed. So I think you give it the 3-day rule for sure. We may have missed the 3-day rule on Palantir, as yesterday it got flushed to 22, now back to 23. Today's a good buying opportunity for Palantir, and we'll wait for the same on Disney because we could be wrong about this 160. So let's see if it bases down there. I would love for it to touch there. We'll buy back. We sold 15%. Maybe I'll buy 5% back at 160 and then put the rest back in if we do drop below that. But I think it's you have a clear to buy Disney now, down 6%. But at the same time, I think you got to watch out what money managers are going to do here and where we're going to go with this name. So it's a widely held name. It's a widely loved name. And we are reopening. So I think, all is good there. My thesis for Disney is still going to remain the same, man. They can unlock value if they were to split it up, just like GE. So let's see if Disney does that, man. They could spin off ESPN, they could spin off ABC and just create a different media company from that, as well as the streaming. And I know there's talk of them with Hulu possibly taking a bigger stake there as well. So I'm excited for Disney at these levels, excited to see what they do. Just like PayPal at 200, I think you got to let Disney settle down here a little bit. And then if it's a bottom, and we can buy it. So looking to buy some at 160, but we did call that yesterday, so I hope some of you got something out, which I know you did, and that's good. And if you didn't, you may want to buy some more at 160. That's what I'm going to be doing.
If you had to, guys, point to something that was on the positive side of things for Beyond Meat, I suppose you could look at net revenue. That was really the only positive number, up 12.7%, 106.4 million. Still missing estimates, though. But it was an increase on the year-over-year number. Basically, everything else right across the board, very, very poor for Beyond Meat. Sales to restaurants, sales to retailers, even their online that they announced recently was to the downside, I noticed. So big move here, 16.5% for Beyond Meat.
Yeah, the one again, like you said, everything's bad across the board. And the one fear that you got to have whenever you're, looking to short something at the bottom, or in this case, it's the pre-market highs, but it's still at the bottom given how it's performed recently, is it could have already fallen too far. Now there are some levels down here that I think would get pretty intriguing because you look at the bottom end of the range, double bottom from the IPO price, and down here at that 50 level, and then you look at the higher low when it finally broke out. So you had the first support on the way back was about 70 to 71. And then it finally broke out. It was right around here. If you look right in here, this dip, that's about 73 when it made the break of that bottom range. So 71 to 73, if it were to get really ugly, I think is certainly the spot where you might catch a bit of support. I saw Virgin Galactic do a similar thing on its way down. It has to get there first. Is it going to be a dead cat bounce today? I don't know. I mean, I got the short off of 79-ish, and I'm using 80 as a clean stop. If it does one of these failures where it pops up, tries to break out and then comes back down, that would be a re-entry point for me. I like that play at 9:30 in the morning, right when the market opens up. So I am open to doing that, even if the 80 gets stopped out. So that's a play that I'm going to be looking to make. I was in that CGen. Just want to quickly show you. Whoops, not CGen. I want to show PPSI. CGen is the one that's like sitting in the money. PPSI. Shorted 840 and made the break of 850. I got most of it out in front of 875. It then came in, put a little dip in around VWAP. It did this little wick down into VWAP that got me out. I'm going to sit this out for the long trade at this point because it got close enough to that $9 resistance that I don't necessarily want to be digging into the long. That's a turn at 875. I'd actually want to see it test the top if I'm going to short it again, but I don't necessarily like the long anymore because if that's a fail break and then failing just shy of that resistance on the daily, usually that means I don't like the long anymore.
PPSI, Beyond Meat, horrible. I mean, 87 cents miss versus 39. I mean, that's like almost the double the earnings per share loss there. That's not, that's not going to be good for Beyond Meat. I'm out of Beyond Meat. That was a great. I mean, only time I ever bought it was near these lows, and it was about $80. So we've cashed out of that one. But Beyond Meat, looking to pick some up again on some of these flushes. I think this is why you build powder, right? I mean, we talked about selling some of the better positions, and we have AMD up right now. We talked about selling that one, and we've done that, right, to raise some cash for Ford. Because when you get dips down, and not to say that's why I'm not buying PaySafe at these levels, but a Beyond Meat or something like that actually has a product that maybe you can get behind, we'll let it fall down more. I don't think we buy Beyond Meat. I'm just using that as an example, just like Disney there. That's why you raise capital, right? Not just to sit in cash, but to also look for good opportunities, and when they arise, you take them. Right here on the daily, on the 1 minute chart, I think AMD breaking through 143 here is going to be a good trade for us today. Obviously, we're going to see what the NASDAQ does, but I'm going to take a small position here on early, and I don't like to do this normally on AMD because it can fluctuate. We could come back down to this 140 area. We talked about, the decline yesterday. It tipped down at 139 as the low, I believe yesterday was So it bottomed out there. You had some resistance levels up here. Here's that 143 where we had some consolidation there. But that's not really the reason. It's just because it's the pre-market high. You do have this area here, 141 to 142, that we bounced around before breaking and then eventually touching 139. So I like AMD here. If we take the 143 break and we get in there off the open, first of all, Rivian right now is a nice one there, as that's now $3 in the money on that trade. It should be more. I wish it was, but we'll wait on that. Anyways, 112.50 my target. But there it is, 143 right there. I like that spot. If we come back in and we lose, I think we can hold this to about 141. So that would be $2 against me. So, just mentally getting prepared to do that. If it takes out 143, we'll scalp it out. Hopefully we can get some 144s. We like the dollar. We like this 145 area if the market really wants to go today. But that's going to be that plan of action with an out at 141. So we'll average into it, but we will not. If we take a 143, man, then my next price is not going to be 142. It'll be like 141.50. Okay, because we don't want to get caught in a crazy average down. Like if I'm going to go 142, then 141, then I'm tripling my loss, right? Averaging down is not for everybody, and it's not for every trade. But Rivian, I wish. I tried to average down on that one. We missed that one by 5 cents. But right now, a nice little win for us. We'll see about this 112.50. That's where my offer is at right now. So if it comes up there and we miss it, at least we know we were sitting there.
Guys, let's talk Open Door here. We mentioned it end of the day yesterday. Earnings beat for Open Door. A lot of analysts as well. Quick to kind of point out the Zillow tie here, and maybe negative for Zillow is positive for Open Door. It's worth noting rival for both of these. OfferPad also beating on earnings right across the board. Also trading higher for OPAD. But here's Open today.
Less competition is usually a pretty good thing, and Open Door hadn't had the greatest run, but got a bit of a breakout here, and it's kind of continuing it through. And I sort of look at this, and I wanted to get more excited about it when I first read the story, and I'm like, okay, up 20%. This looks pretty good. I can get behind the thesis of it. And then I pulled up the daily chart, and I looked at this 25 level that we're getting into, and we're like $1.50 away from it. So I kind of starred that one and said, okay, well, do I really love that break? Where's my support? goodness. So if you're not using pre-market lows randomly, you're talking about like a 21.75, which is $1.75 away. It's $1.50 of that 250 support resistance level. So I'm not in love with it at these price levels, right? So unfortunately, I don't have a great trade here for open door, although I think, the support down at 22 makes some sense to me. 25 is a monster level, showed you on the daily chart. It gets there. I think you're going to have some decent action to be able to play off of. So I'm going to be looking for that. Yeah, I just got out of Rivian as well. So, I mean, it just got to that one. I had 113.50 for some reason. I don't, distinction without a difference. But as it spikes up, 120 or just shy of it was the high of the day yesterday, I believe.
Yeah, boom, Rivian right there. Great trade for us to start the day, man. A smooth $4 there, $4.50 on Rivian as it just continues to go. I just, we could have held it, but we got into this area. It happened way too fast. What a great trade there on Rivian. I hope you guys had that. We talked about it early, man. As soon as I came in, saw that 108 level break, we took it. Just wish we would have had more down there at 106. We missed that by 5 cents, but there it goes to the upside. The only other trade wow, what a great trade. The only other trade we have now is SoFi. So we'll wait to see, and that looks like it's going to take out the top of 24. So this could be a good morning for us, man. And we're watching PaySafe as well, and AMD. This is going to be a good one, man. Only 4 minutes to go. Brendan over there at the big screen. Let's talk a little fossil, why don't we?
Yeah, we'll continue what we were discussing with Lewis if he joined us earlier this morning. He was talking about this 19 level, very significant for fossil on the daily chart. So 19, the top, it actually got above that briefly in the pre-market here. So you're going to have to give it to 1920, 1930 kind of thing for the ultimate out. This is the kind of trade, though, where you're risking 50, 60, 70 cents for the possibility of making $2, $3 to the downside if it comes into 16 and a half or even 16 to the bottom. So already kind of fading off here, guys, for FOSL.
And another small cap, when I get to CGen here, this is also on our watch list. They already had a deal going, or not a deal, I guess I should say a partnership going with Bristol Myers, and then there was an equity investment involved as well, about $20 million worth. So CGen gets a bit of a pop up and a gap up, it was more than 13% that it sits right now. And I just simply saw it make a double top, consolidate lower, which I like that kind of setup. So this 725 area in front of 730, I've been shorting it. I got in too early on a 708 when this broke down because I was like, I wanted to take momentum, left a small order out there. But the real short is off of these 20 to 25s, and then getting some out in front of 7 even. If 7 even breaks, I'm looking 675, 650, the same old score as we usually do before. And on Rivian just there, I forget about ringing the register. I mean, there was a seller at 115 that just kept going and going and going, and then it broke, got up to 115 and a half, and then slammed right back down. So, I mean, somebody's taking some profits at 115 and doesn't look like they're done. I still would feel way more comfortable if it tested that high at 120 before thinking about shorting Rivian, but a good run already. With only 2 minutes to go, I said I'd talk about Lordstown. So Rivian makes that push to the upside, so you think, okay, some of these sympathy plays should be going up. Lordstown, what? Okay, yeah, doing absolutely nothing. 650 does stand out as a bit of a breakout play. I think it's definitely a 750 and a $9 fade if it somehow gets to either of those prices. But I kind of feel like it should be making this break. If we're getting this breakout on Rivian, it should be making the break to the upside. If it breaks 650 and fails at 930, then I'd want to short on the retake of that level. Otherwise, if you can't beat them, join them. Looking for a 650 break, but I kind of feel like this should be happening at the open. And if it doesn't, that's not a good sign. Beyond meat, I'm with you, Jude. I mean, I just got out of it when it broke that 80. It was a short in front of 80. It's broken 80. I don't have any levels to the upside that I like fading anymore. It looks like Beyond Meat is trying to do a bit of a bounce play here.
All right, guys, 144 flat there. We'll take out something if it goes. We're also in right now AMD. We're in SoFi, and we're loving life right now. Big trade on Rivian there for me. And thank you so much, Shonda, for that. We're going to try to, bring up everybody that super chats. And there's another one. Thank you so much. Prog down, eat the dip. Prog, are you talking about the stock? Okay, because there's a coin as well there. So Prog, nice one there. We'll talk about that. There goes SoFi. Looks like it's going to break right now. Let's check out the imbalance locator as Miss V is getting ready for the open. Miss V, there she is. Yeah, she's aware. Okay, good. As we're getting ready to go, PaySafe right here still has a sell. These are the imbalances. Palantir has a buy. Good for that. I was looking to pick some more shares up today. Unfortunately, that bottom might have happened yesterday. We'll wait to see that. DD4, Disney there with a big sell as well. Wow, down to 163. That might get elevated. We're going to watch SoFi for any dips. I want to buy the dip on SoFi. So that's what's happening right now. We're already in the money, 25 cents, but maybe we can get a little bit more here. Any dips on SoFi we'll look to buy. We'll look to take PaySafe a little bit if it breaks back above $5.
I'm staring that one in the face right now. The same, I mean, it's not, this PaySafe isn't Tesla, but the Tesla 1,000 break down, hold 990 and break back up was a gorgeous setup. This is a $5 break with a 480 bottom. And if it retakes the level, you gotta like it. We're gonna drop the countdown. It is Thursday, if you haven't guessed. And of course, happy Remembrance Day or Veterans Day. Let's get this party started. Miss V. There we go, as we drop the bell. There's green in there. We might need it today. 2 and 1, ring it.
Then we are now open, so here we go. So we talked about this AMD not taking a huge position on this, but it is now opened up. You see the NASDAQ trying to do a little dance. We'll see where it goes. There goes PaySafe breaking through 5. Maybe it didn't, but I somehow got long there at 5.
Yeah,
so we'll see. There, it's not open yet, right? So it's a New York name,
right,
so we have to wait for that to open up. We are trying to go long on PaySafe. Well, we are long on PaySafe right now. AMD falling down. We said we would pick some up, 41.50, 41.70. So that's what we're going to do on that one. If it continues to fall down, that is PaySafe. Disney getting flushed as expected as well.
Yeah, I mean, Disney getting flushed. The ride does make that 650 break, so I said I'd take the break. If it's a fail, I like the short if it holds below that 650 area. It got up to like 660 or so, and then a bit of a reversal. Affirm, Affirm, right down into that 160, breaks that 160, gets to 158. It's in that target range. 55 to 60 was a range I liked. I want to see it try to consolidate, get back to the upside through it. Yeah, there it goes. It just tried to make a move through 160 there. I want to see if I can pick up some shares and then see if we can't get a bit of a bottom here on Affirm. But again, you know, watch out. Some people might be taking some profit. I wanted a bit of a bounce play off of these levels. PaySafe, as I look over, still not open yet. You want to make sure this thing opens up and then likely settles down. It's a New York stock. I actually forgot it was New York.
Yeah, and here comes a crash down right now for Disney, just as we talked about, just as expected, to be honest with you. 161 there. We'll wait for a bid, 161.20. It looks like, yeah, it is open now, so it's getting flushed. Disney, a lot of volume coming through. You're going to watch out for that 160 area as a breaking spot to the downside. 162, it's just going back and forth here between 160, 150, and 162, so we'll watch out for that one. PaySafe now open. We did get long there through 5, which was a mistake. I mean, I don't know how we exactly got that, but we did.
Yeah, that was a
I guess it did tick over there. Someone, again, when the market's not open, it's always a very, very risky spot, so we'll hold out for that. The bottom is 80. We'll have to average in. Again, not a big position. We don't want to go long on anything that's been an absolute dumpster fire, so we'll wait on that one. And here comes AMD back in now, too. Wow, good thing we took, I don't know what Rivian's at, but still same price. Good thing we took some money on that, because some of these positions we have now not doing great. There's a nice little pickup on AMD. Long right now, 142.80. So coming back in there, a nice little pickup at the bottom. We said we'd do that 142 flat, and then we're still waiting at 141.70 as well.
So I kind of keep going with myself there on Affirm. Well, that was kind of a mistake. So I want to see if I can't get back into shares. While that was happening, Ride spiked up to 670. So the breakout does end up working out. I still have the last little piece here just to see what happens. Can it get to $7? I like 750 for first resistance anyway. So letting a little bit of it ride.
Nice.
Makes a little bit of sense. That is quite. I won't even use that one again because that's such low-hanging fruit. We can do better than that, Neil. That CGen is breaking to the downside here. I want to make sure I get those bids out in front of that 675. As you know, this stock, of course, with the Bristol Myers deal, just looks like it could be that easy fade all day.
And there's another one right there. We pick up some SoFi. We talked about looking for that on the low side, and there we go. We pick it up, and now we cash in on SoFi right there. In there at 55, out 98, and we still have a little piece. So we are going to watch SoFi now to see where we go, but we still have a little piece on that one. We are trying to buy any dips, which we did successfully right there on SoFi. So the only thing that hasn't been a very big success for us so far has been this AMD trade. It's coming back in now. We talked about 41. We're not going to let this go too much past 41. We did get some out on that, rebump back up to 142.50, but again, that's going to have to wait now as AMD, just the market right here. Look at the NASDAQ. This is what we're scared of. That's why we didn't want to get a big, huge position there as the NASDAQ's coming back in. So when that happens, obviously we expect a very similar fate for AMD. So I'm actually going to cancel my 41.70 and wait a little bit lower on this name to see where we go for this. But so far, so good here today. Disney, we have the long 161.20 right now. So that's been bouncing around 162.50. We'll put put an offer 162.20, see if we can make $1, but you know where our targets are for the downside.
And Tesla just absolutely falling like a rock here. It tries to take out the high. Look at that rollover. I mean, it just takes out the top, or tries to take out the top at 11.06, and then flushes $30 down. I mean, $30 is not that much, really, but still up on the session, but big time fall on Tesla there. If it's another one of those wipeout bottoms, I think the market's going to have to try to pull this one up. We talked about there wasn't all the selling done. If it comes back and rolls over at 1100, I think that's your resistance point. So Affirm is at the bottom end of that range. I took the one shot here when it retook 160 and then covered. Now I'm looking at that 155. It was 155 to 160. If it can bounce there, I'm going to look for an entry. But look what happened in Beyond Meat. Spikes, do I take my stop? It goes to 83 and is now flushed right back down. So Beyond Meat with a big time capitulation candle. If this holds the original 80 price, it could be a re-entry into the short. Sticking with the two that we got, I think they could be nice winners, except for the fact that if we retake 650 on Lordstown, you know, at the same time as 110 is being taken on Rivian, I don't want Rivian breaking that 110 and then still holding on to ride in case it's at that 650. So watch Rivian as it comes back into that 110 level. That's a big support for that stock.
Yeah, I'm feeling you on that one, that's for sure. Okay, so just trying to watch out, see what's happening here in said market as we're going forward now. Okay, so Disney, nice little win here. We're going to wait to get 161.50 or so on that name. Hopefully, we can make a little bit of cash on that play as it's trying to get to the upside here. So that's going to be Disney now back to 161. We are long right now, 161.20. So it's 40 cents in, but we are waiting for some tops about 162. See if it likes it. If it does, great. If it doesn't, we'll be out of it and we'll smash that another way. We did not get any more long on AMD. We were waiting, unfortunately, at 20, so we're looking at that play. SoFi's come back in a little bit more now.
Yeah,
so
I just got my...
Yeah, this is a decent spot now for SoFi, 123, or sorry, 23, but it's still up 14%, so we got to be very, very cautious of what exactly is happening here with SoFi today. But down here, nice, possible good pickup there at 22 and change. If we look at a 20-minute chart, yeah, I mean, we could... Yeah, 2280, yeah, 2290, yeah. So a good spot now for SoFi. I like this trade if anybody has that.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at the dip buy off of that pre-market low around 23. I managed to get it there. We'll see what happens. If it comes back into like the 30s to 50s, I think that's a good place to start taking a leg out and then see how far it can rebound. Now, remember, the market is coming down here. Took the second look at Affirm. Wait for it to bounce this time. Instead on the way down, actually wait for it to bounce off 155 and then reclaim 156. Then I get in the second time, so a little bit more patience here. If it breaks 55, I mean, the floodgates could open up. I didn't have any levels that I love below this, so this is kind of going to be one of those last line in the sand type of ideas. I still want to try to get back into Beyond Meat if we get an opportunity to, but you know, I'm not beholden to having to make that trade. If I can't find a good short, I'm not necessarily going to jump into it. Rivian, it looks like it wicked down to 110.15. I actually might have missed an opportunity there to buy that dip in front of 110. That looks like a crazy wick. Maybe it printed there, maybe it didn't. Either way, I wish I'd gotten it.
What's up, Brendo?
Open door, guys. Initial selling after that pop. So we got through 24 and then just got absolutely slammed right through that pre-market support as well on monster volume. So it did try to retest there, but so far not so positive for open door, guys.
I would have hit.
Oh man, I missed that. I didn't even receive Miss V brought this coffee.
No, it was like literally it was right here, and I'm like, yeah, if the elbow goes.
Good call, man. I would have smoked that coffee there. So, okay, just to talk here, we are getting ready to get out of our Disney here. We may or may not take one more position here on Disney, as it looks like it's just getting crushed right now to the downside. I mean, this is exactly what this is why we emptied. I mean, we emptied it out yesterday. Not emptied it out. I'm still a shareholder, so I'm not happy with it. But at least we gave that warning where we said the risk definitely was to the downside with Disney today, down 8%. Wow, we talk about getting murdered here today, Disney. That's a big day. I don't know what Disney's worst day ever is. It won't be ever, but worst day in the last little while, despite, you know, like a COVID kind of day here. Disney on earnings, wow, horrible for them as coming to the downside. But we will pick a little bit more up here on Disney and see where we go. But right now, it's just crack city right here for Disney, guys.
Yeah, I mean, whoa. Root making a bit of a move. If you guys are not familiar with Root,
PaySafe making a bit of a move.
Is it up? Is it up?
No, it got crushed.
Never mind. Because Root's finally, well, I mean, it's up 16%, but this stock has been like a potential squeeze play for God knows how long. It just never squeezes. But I think they reported. I'm pretty sure they reported, but either way, up 17%, making a move finally. It like almost never does this. This is it breaking through the 50 period. So yeah, I mean, count me on board if it can follow through and make a break of this 560 level here. And again, I don't went to 555, but you got to break out of the range. It's not enough for the 50 period. If this can break like 62 or 63, then I'll go into a long. I've said many times. I mean, I know I'm a shareholder of Lemonade, so I probably prefer them. I do. But Root, it's a big short interest, and it's been one of those potential squeezes for so long that if today is going to be the day, whatever, I'll take a shot. 560. It needs to break that 562 on the daily chart for me to participate, though.
Okay, so we are actually going to add to our pay-safe trade here if it breaks through 475, and we'll give it one more shot to hold that bottom, and if not, then we're gone out of this one. So a breakthrough 475, we'll put on another position at 76, basically double our shares there that we have, and then get out at 69 and for just what is one last shot here on paysafe? I mean, down 35%. And look, it doesn't even want to break 76, man. Like they just 75. It just tried to do it there. Here it comes right back to the downside. So we have some 70 possibilities there, but it looks like it's not going to have much love there. So we'll try a 76 break if it does happen. But for right now, paysafe just continues. Here it goes. I mean, there's no relief here. What we're waiting for, see, they're just following it down. What we're waiting for is for something to kick in here for us.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, some kind of a blowout bottom there or something that maybe we can take advantage of here. But right now, I'm watching it, waiting for something to happen. It doesn't look like it's going to come through, guys. And then Disney, we tried that average price as well. And yeah, look at this, 159. Holy crap, Disney, guys. This is why you always want to have some dry powder.
153. I mean, I want to be on the bid there if it goes down any further.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 153. Yeah. I mean, if that happens, then wow. But really, right now, 160. What a kicker right now for Disney. Down, down, down. We will be looking to buy this in, but not now. We talked about waiting for a couple days on this one. It's a 3-day rule there. On that note, let's check Palantir quickly. Yeah, back in. So good. Okay. So as this gets faded in, hopefully we can. There, PaySafe just got halted right there.
No.
So
volatility.
Could have it been volatility? 40 cents in.
Hang on a second. Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't 1 minute down 40 cents, so this is not going to be good. But right now, PaySafe halted right there. We'll see down halt.
That just went to the top of my list to trade.
Yeah,
I am going to get into Beyond Meat again.
I wish I was watching that. I mean, I would have covered.
Goodness.
I have a small position, but I would have covered there and then probably waited for that short to see what's going on. But right now, PaySafe definitely halted, as you guys can all see.
Yeah, it's volatility. Volatility holds
volatility.
PaySafe.
Okay,
Yeah,
so maybe this has a chance to pop back up. We'll wait to see what PaySafe wants to do. But right now, down halt on that one. So yuck, down 36%. Give me a break. I mean, people selling off everything today. Disney. I don't even know what you're beyond. I know you're out of Beyond Meat, but what that's doing.
It's back down to 79. So I got burned because I wanted the short of just wrong price.
Rivian, a good trade for us today, obviously, as it's back down to 109 right now. So more fish to fry right here. So let's just keep going. A nice bounce. You talked about 23 there for SoFi. That could have been something interesting. But right now, I'm just going to wait for PaySafe to try to open back up. AMD's bouncing around. We have an average price now of 142.50, so we're out of the money $1 on this one as well. So that ain't great, but hopefully more to come on all of this, guys.
Yeah. So like on Beyond Meat there, I got stopped out when it took 80. I'm not going to sit there and hold it and average into it if that's not part of the plan. But back below this 80 level, I'm going to play it off of these wicks, which are like 80.15 or so, 80.25, and then see if I can't get back into a short. I might have to start it, like $1 shy, something along those lines. And I think it makes some sense. PaySafe, obviously, I love halt play, so I'm going to get involved in that one. SoFi was able to catch that bottom bounce through night 23. It reclaimed the level. So allowed it to try to be to a failed break, but I never got into more shares. I got distracted by PaySafe, but was able to get some out in the 30s like we talked about. I'll get more out in front of VWAP here. That's 23.50. So at least this is working. And then that CGen, every now and then it's like you find a small cap, just sit in it all day. I feel like CGen could be that one. I might have missed my opportunity to get back into Beyond Meat, and I do not want to chase it too far. But I might have got a shaken. If this breaks 78, then I've probably been shook on this trade. PaySafe should be 945 and change when it opens back up. And I'm not going to ring the register again or hit another key again, but SoFi does take that 23.50, so another leg out. I'll buy in front of the dip, but I'd rather price closer to that 23 if I'm stepping in front of a falling market. And then Affirm, I was trying to shout at someone in there, and apologies because someone was making a call that this was going to 152. I had a wide dip range, which is probably the reason for 2 trades and 2 losses instead of 1 clean one. That was a $5 range. It's crashed through both of those. So I think it's good news, but this is what you look like in the daily chart. This is 148 to 150, this bottom that I'm kind of highlighting there. And then you go to your 15-minute, If it can't find a bid at 150, then you know what? I'm going to throw my arms in the air and say, okay, I'm not sure where it's going to be. This is the last of range that I think makes sense on the daily chart. I've stopped chasing beyond meat. It's got to come back to me. Otherwise, I might have missed that trade altogether. And Rivian, by the way, I think that's holding up pretty nicely. We had a lot of trades obviously yesterday, but it held up one time on the dip at 110. The second time it crashed through. It found support at this 108 potential. I mean, it was resistance and then it was support. So the fact that it found a bid there, definitely a nice little bullish sign here for Rivian. It might not be done. The market may be coming down, but at least it's showing some signs of catching a bit of a bid. Can't say the term for a firm yet, although it looks like it's trying.
Yeah, and AMD, one last shot here. We just took another piece there at 141.20. 141 break. We told you that we would start to, and this is a better average price. Now we can lose $1 on AMD, which is much more reasonable. We're long at 142 flat here. What's up, Brendo?
Look how small the
Remember, guys, there was an offering on this going back to yesterday. Big move down on that news, but trying to bounce here on monster volume. It is worth mentioning for SOS.
No, it's 5 minutes.
Oh, then it moved at 10% there. Yeah, we're just debating that pay safe move. It did move.
460.
It did move there.
That's 507. Okay, no, the top here is 507.
It happened so fast.
Okay.
It was battling at 5, and then it just, like we were watching. Remember, it was at 75. It just kept cracking. I wish I would have known the halt levels. Oh man, we've put that request in a couple times into the software. Hopefully that at one point will get done. But there it is. So we just took out some more AMD as it's just making move back to the upside. That 141 held. So that's a good hold there. We'll see if it can go back up now on AMD. It needs to go back through 142. That was our average price. So we'll see if AMD can get up now. There it is, 142. So here it is. Yes, sir. Let's go, AMD. A nice little bump up right there. That's making me happy. As there it goes. Wow, AMD. A nice move to the top side right there. I don't know what else is going. Maybe NVIDIA's going right there, but that's a nice, good move there for AMD. Should have got some out there. Wow, 142.
Yeah, and looking at I guess maybe, it just opened up. Thank you very much. I thought it was going to be a 10-minute halt there on pay safe, but it opens up. It holds 461, the halt price. This might be a shot. If I can get this essentially off of the halt bottom, if it breaks that halt bottom like a 460, I'm just going to get out. But I'm going to take a shot off of this here. And again, it risk like 10 cents of so-called slippage and see how far it can go. If it breaks a low, it's probably going to be a short
there
again.
There it goes. Yeah, I tried it.
I just immediately reversed into the short.
Yeah.
It just went long to short. And now it's like, if it's going to be to the downside again, I probably have to give it to that recent high. So I'm willing to give up like 10 points in either direction here just to see what happens. But that was a bit of a fail break in both directions. And I never want to get chopped up 3 times. So if this short doesn't work, I'll wait until it makes a bigger move. Like right now, I got a 58 short. So I don't even want to be covering it till it breaks like 55 or so. We get like 5 cents in the money and start thinking about that kind of a thing on this kind of stock. But I was wrong about it. Like it was definitely a legitimate halt because that was exactly 10%. I kind of missed that wick to 507 because I was in that early long and didn't think it had gone to that price. But here's 450 on the bid. It's getting chewed through. It's going
to get crushed.
At least I reversed into the short, but that first initial position was a bit of a... I'm starting to take shares out here. The first initial position was not good. Is it?
It could hold again at some point.
The next halt band, if it does happen, should be down in the 20s.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen though. We'll. There's 450 again. I mean, we're just looking at this. We're watching AMD as well. But yeah, 440, 450 there. I still think that there's a chance for this thing to go. Oh, sorry, I put it on PaySafe here. Sorry. I have it on another screen. I was thinking that this is a chance for this to go through again, 450 one more time. We'll try it. We'll try a 451 buy. If it goes up, we'll put it on one more time. And then we do have some of those bottoms. So there it is. We'll take that bid right now. And whoa, okay. I don't know where we're going to get out of this. But upside now, 150. What was that bottom? 140. 440. So 440 break. We'll be out of this one. We'll try it one more time here on PaySafe. And we don't want to keep going back to the well. We've talked about that. This has no love today. So another break of this and we'll be out of this. 440 the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, I'm ringing the Reggie on the short. But remember, I initially lost on the long. I wanted to see, like sometimes down halts on stocks that are beaten up can be fantastic opportunities to get in, but I'm not going to fight the momentum on it. If it breaks the 440 downside again, I will not still be short. I'm looking to cover, I have about like 20% left. I'm looking to cover the rest of this between here and that 440 level, and then try and reassess the trade and then move on. Affirm looks like it caught a bid. I mean, give me a break. It got to 151, so it looks like that would have been a good opportunity for me to, maybe jam some shares in. But I missed that long. I was watching and wanting PaySafe. Rivian now back above 110. If it can manage to hold this bid in consolidation, I might pick up a long and then just use this as a stop area. But I'm almost all out now, down to 10% of PaySafe here. as it looks like it might reclaim that 450 level that Sean got long. And if it does that, I'm just going to tap out. It's a 58 short that I got. And if it can't really follow through to that low, it is what it is. There it is. Yeah, I'm just going to get out of it. So it looks like it might be coming back into that upside. It was a good short, but remember I lost on the long first. So overall, basically a flat trade.
PayPal. So PayPal right here, back down today, but not really, just flat. But it did have a nice open up to 208. So I think a 205 break here for PayPal. And we were already long PaySafe right now. But this 205 break could be something. So we could try it and then give it down to $1 for 204. This is one where I'm not going to average into this because if it does break 204, then we have to look out. I mean, I'm not even in it, but we have to look down here for 202.50 and things like that. So if we can get some PayPal on a crazy flush down to 202.50, then we'll buy some down there. Otherwise, we're going to take a 205 break and see what happens. Look, I got out of 10% of that when it went to 555 there. So make a little bit back, but we're still hoping out for PaySafe to take out that 455 there and go back to the upside. We've just tried it a couple times here, just like a couple 5-cent hits, a couple wins there, but nothing. Obviously the only stock, I mean, we're down on a couple stocks. They were down on Disney. We're currently holding a negative position on AMD, but that was good. Like when that ripped up there, guys, like you have to, and again, we don't show our share sizes here or anything like that, but when a move goes, like when we just get long 140, 120 there, and then it rips up in the same minute to 60, 70, and then the very next minute it's $1 higher, like that's a spot where you got to consider getting out. Something, right? Because here it comes right back in again, break down through one. There goes. I mean, this has just been a wild ride, man. The way that they're there, so we just got out. So that's why you got to take some out there. Like we were saying, it's going to be a negative stock for us. So we'll flush ourselves down the toilet because it's not a win when something like that happens. Where's my toilet flush? I don't even know. Oh, there it is right there. So we'll flush AMD down the toilet as it breaks 141 and we get out. Maybe that wick bottom there. Maybe I need to get back in. But we're already holding PaySafe for the long side and SoFi. So let's hold out for this one. But AMD might have just flushed me out there. Wow, if that's true, then that's going to be a bad one. But we'll look to get in one more time and see if that holds. I guess it's not too bad of a risk here, especially if the NASDAQ takes off.
So two things here. One, yeah, you can count me into root. It broke that 562 on the daily. So I'll give it back to like 550 because I give it a wider berth, but it's root, so I don't really want to do that. Rivian, I got back in. It held that bid at 110, which is what I wanted to see happen. It then came right back up, got like a 1050 into the long. I actually was looking to be able to add more in front of that pullback range. It's 109.60 or so. So if it can hold this, I'm looking to add some shares in front, take some out at VWAP, and then see, okay, there we go. We just got that long. I already have my stop in place. If it does take out VWAP, I like 112 and then into that 113.50 area that we got out before. But I don't even want it breaking 109.50. Like I want to be making quick in and out trades here if I can. And if it breaks this stop level, I'd rather play again at 108 and then use that level of support as opposed to just holding it all the way through. So that's going to be the way I want to go about it. SoFi was a good long. We got to VWAP and then it just took out the bottom. So this is why you take profit. The way the market was coming down, felt like I didn't want to fight that one too hard. I bought the dip once. If it cannot follow through, I'm not digging in again. I'll hunt for a bit of better bottom if we can find one on SoFi, but crazy movement here. And if it continues lower, you have this cluster here at about 22 to 22 and a quarter. That could be support. We'll wait till it gets down there.
All right, we do have AMD. So again, we're trying not to look this in the face here at Gift Horse again, Neil, because there it goes again one more time, man. We doubled up our position, and we just got some more out there at 49 or 50 or whatever these prices were, 47, 48 onto the upside. So we're still holding 70% of this trade. So we got out 30% here, just like that move. So AMD is a negative stock. Could be a hell of a lot worse than it is right now, but in there. We'll see if the NASDAQ wants to rally a little bit there. Nice little bump up there. Maybe we made a bottom off that bottom right there from yesterday afternoon. So if the NASDAQ wants to get back to 16.1, 16.2, the high, that would be nice. And then our AMD will be rocking right now. So I have another offer at what? It was 55. There it is. So there you go. So there you go. So the honesty always works. And there we go. Back upside here. Yeah. So we're making back a little bit of this money here. We're still in PaySafe, but we are making back some money here on AMD. And there goes PayPal. New position alert. So we'll fire off the siren for you guys. New position alert. PayPal through 205. We now have that long. So let's see where this one can go. 80 cents now in the money on AMD. Let's take some more out. But in the meantime, let's go over to Miss V. I like the poppy. I like the shirt. Let's go, Miss V. Twinsies.
Indeed. Hey guys, AMC, positive day for stock, up more than 1%. Do you see any opportunities in AMC for yourself?
Well,
AMC.
Adam Aaron definitely probably wish he'd. Oh, just kidding. He sold to 25 million, whatever it was that he sold.
50
The
million,
CEO,
I think
50
it
was it 50 million,
I
not
think it was
25?
50.
Either way, AMC breaking out a little bit here. A couple of things, not to be a Debbie Downer or anything, but 39.5. That just turned around. I mean, it just turned around off 39.5, and it was a failed 40 break yesterday. So it gets to 40. Anytime you have an even dollar failed break, the next day I'm thinking resistance at that level for sure. So watch out for both 39.5 and then 40, and then that 40 even. Is that Brendan?
Context logic, guys. Wish we saw on the downgrade side of the board today. I'm having all kinds of software issues today. Wish having quite the day, though. 11.7% here, straight back higher on huge volume.
So I joined the Root party, which is now what, like 10 cents in the money, and Wish says hold my beer. It's actually up a little bit. Well, I mean, it's about percentage-wise, probably about the same thing, but making power moves to the upside on context logic. I just think, look, it gets to where it got yesterday, $6. That's your resistance level. I'm sitting in a Root. I'll probably not double up and do context.
Man, how much do we love AMD right here? Like, damn you, AMD. Honestly, like, love-hate relationship right now, because if we don't, I mean, we made that wick on that 141 bottom. We talked about buying this thing to 141. We do that, and hells yeah. We only got out of 30% there, right? To 30, 40, 50, 60. We still have 30, 40% on right now on board, and we just took a nice piece out there at 142.28. So yes, sir. Some of these paper cuts, again, long, and long, and then in there, and out, and then the ultimate out, but buy it back, and now it's celebrate good times. Not for PaySafe, as that just cracked even lower there, so that's not going to stop, man. I mean, we might have to wait for one more halt on this name, and then maybe it starts to go back to the upside, but 40%, there is a short interest on this name. Maybe we can find that out, Brendan. I thought it was like in the teens, but obviously I think it's going to be more today on that, so you can see it's just still going to the downside. Good thing we got out of all of these longs, man. I mean, the longs have been disastrous, and it's definitely a negative stock, but down to 427. Like, wow.
Oh my God, I had to short.
Remember I said I'm not adding to this at $5? Like, thank God we didn't do that. But I can't punch the long here, and I don't even know when we can, so we're going to wait on this. I thought maybe that first halt and then the resisting at 450, which is why we went long there, might have been something, but apparently it is not.
So something interesting about this, if you look at where this was consolidating and broke down, 446, 447, 10% down here if it really flushes is literally $4. So watch out for $4 to be able to hold. Look, I mean, I'm not going to be happy that I took out this short, because you can see I was pretty active getting out in front of 440. That was a mistake. The short was a winner, but I definitely could have done better. Brendo?
I'll give you two numbers here, Sean. One from Trade Ideas says 3.8%. That's not the right screen. 3.8% to the short side. Icon, as of the end of October, had it at 1.8%. So, pretty small as far as I can tell.
Okay, I don't think that's true. So hold on a second here. I mean, truth is what it is. I mean, it is what it is. So I have no idea. Let's just. Did you checked Trade Ideas, right? Yeah, 4%. So just trying to see here if there's any other names or things that we're looking at here. The market cap's only $3 billion right now, and even going lower than that. They have cash of 1.5. So you're telling me, I mean, and I don't know, we have to look at the numbers, but Brendan, let's find out how much cash they have on the books, because if they have 1.5 billion in cash, and that's half of their market share, then honestly, something is wrong here, because it needs to go up a little bit higher than this. So we'll wait. I'm not just saying
that. And it's not even shorts leaning on it, too.
I am a shareholder, so I am thinking that obviously this is way too beat down, but the market is true, and market knows. So it's
EV go.
It's like ball don't lie, right? So there we go. We did take another spot there. Look at this, a decent position we added for SoFi, got some out there on the break. We just took a 23 break, got some out at 23.10. Realistically, I think we can get to 23.30 for sure. And then if we look at VWAP 23.40, that's some sort of a moment of concern for me. But SoFi right now, long 23.01. PayPal's falling in now, so we did take that 205 break. We talked about if it breaks through 204, we'll be gone. So we will lose on this one if it goes. But actually, you know what? Since we looked at that, it actually went down here to 203.50. So let's not get completely out of PayPal now, because we've already made that bottom. Didn't even recognize that. That should have been something. So let's try a 204 and change bid now, and then use this sort of as our bottom. I think we could probably try to hold that. So 204.
Rivian's going to pay off that 110 area. It does consolidate. I took some out in front of you up, just got some out when it broke that 112 area. It got 112, like 50 or 60s here. If it continues to push, I want to hold this one to, like the high is 116, but it's that rejection at 115 that concerns me the most. So I'll cover some in front of 114. This has been, I mean, to say Rivian's probably been the safest stock to trade or the cleanest stock to trade, it's probably true unless you were short a firm. I think that was pretty clean too. Well, I mean, short pay safe as well, which I bungled. Brendo?
So from what I see, Sean, cash on hand is a yearly figure. So 1.7 on, I don't know why my computer is doing that today. 1.7 right here on 1.7 billion end of last year. So a figure that gets reported yearly for these.
Yeah. So I don't know. Well, I mean, we could try it right now long again. We're liking our SoFi. Right
I'm looking at 4. Like, I just want to wait. Like, it no longer pay safe, would no longer be a halt down at 4 because it's consolidated, right? Like, it's only within that 5 minutes. But if it does get to 4 even, I think that's going to be a bit of a go zone for me. I'm looking. I just got some Rivian there, and then as far as root goes, I'm still in position in root. I got one leg out. In front of 575 because, you know, quarters, evens, that kind of thing. I'm going to get an offer out in front of $6 just in case it goes there, you know, like 94, 95, that kind of a thing, and then see if it can make a rush. I still want to stop out at 550. I don't want to hold on to this for dear life. So the 3 I got on I'm pretty comfortable with. And then a firm is retesting the bottom here. So interesting point for a firm. It made that 151 bottom. Now it's retesting the low. If it can bounce off this without breaking 150, you know, now I kind of feel like, okay, this is a spot that I could get into. But if it can't hold 150, I'm not going to sit here fighting this one. It's just one of those things. You fight too long, allow the buying to come in before you have to jump in front of the sword. So pay safe and firm looking to pick a bottom here, but I don't feel like the need to jump in too early. Got a couple of strong ones, at least one strong one in Rivian. Don't need to find my way into something which is looking weak. It just made a bit of a bounce there. If I can catch I don't want to chase it too far, guys. Don't want to chase it too far in a firm. Give me like 151, 50 will be about as much as I want to take. So let's see if we can get it there.
Okay, so we're cracking in now. We did take a little bit of a long there on PaySafe, see if we can battle it back a little bit. I think we can. Didn't get some out at 20 if we can. We're offering there. There it is. Another one there, so we'll rain down some cash on SoFi. The only problem that's been a problem today has been PaySafe. Everything else is cruising, man. We're nicely in the money now on this name, AMD, as it's just making new highs, as the NASDAQ's trying to fade out a little bit. We'll take out another piece right there, but there's PaySafe right now, just chilling, trying to break through 22. We are back long at 20 now. Tried to buy some 16s there. We missed it. It just started to go back up. So maybe we have something here on a long 20. But again, you know, we cracked that $4. I mean, how many times can we just keep on trying this? This is when we get in trouble, when we keep going back to the same well over and over and over again. So we definitely do not want to be part of that. So, you know, we'll go there one more time, and then we'll see if this is maybe the move back up. Obviously, I wish I had a full position on. I do not. But right now, 6, 7, 10 cents in the money now on this name. So looking pretty good with that. And 110, we should get out of some more AMD here just in case this does fly down.
Yeah, and Root looks like it's pulling back in. Like I was able to get that firm, paid a little more than that 50 level for that trade. If it does go a little bit higher, I'll definitely take a look at it. Lucid never really got to that 45 level that I obviously liked, so 43.50. It's still a double top here on Lucid, by the way, and that's 43.5 dollars. Going to the 15-minute chart just to give you an idea. Not a horrible level for a break, and then the resistance at 45 even. So keeping an eye on Lucid. Rivian's the one I got the long in. I think we just like that one a little bit better. But if we break that 43.50, Lucid does look a little better than it did in the pre-market now that it's a double top at that price. I'm likely going to be holding Rivian in that particular case. Pay safe. That $4 eluded me, so obviously I'm not going to be in that one. I think, Sean, you got the long in there on pay safe. If it goes back to the upside, I think some of the halt levels can come into play. Sometimes they can be resistance levels. 461 was that halt price. I tend to think if there's a fade, it would probably have to be at the halt price and nowhere else.
Yeah, we've been, so we've just been, I'm not really getting out. I got out at 20% here on PaySafe. So we'll see. Just, it's starting to, if you can see that, it's starting to tick back up here. The chart is just so negative right now. So good, hopefully a good bid there. We tried to get more at 15, we missed, and we had to punch 20s. So unfortunately, not great, but we are starting to get some out on these levels. So yeah, whatever. I'm waiting at 38 now to get some more out. A position that's in trouble right now, we should have waited. I knew that we should have waited, or we should have got out at 204 on the break. But right now, and that's why I was looking at a 20-minute chart for PayPal. We're right into like this 201, 202.50 area that we had yesterday. So maybe that can hold. It's the bottom. Maybe I can zoom in. We're going to go to Brendan in a second. Right here, 202. 50 is a spot right now, possibly for PayPal there. As yes, sir, 20 cents now in the money on PaySafe. Okay, I don't think I have it really a 20-cent hit, but I don't have my max shares like we've done before. So this ain't making any money back, that's for damn sure. But we're making a little bit back, but not that much. So let's wait for that. AMD, we got out on that, good out there, 142.20. So we're still holding a small piece. That's still 80 cents in the money. But Brendan, let's go find out what's happening now. The markets are pretty crazy this morning.
Whippy action, I think, is a good term for the first 30 minutes here. Let's go. Here's the story. The NASDAQ leading the way to the upside so far, 0.7, 0.5 for the composite and the 100. You can see the Russell back to the upside after weakness yesterday, 0.65 for small caps. The Dow red, the S&P about the same in the opposite direction. A couple of things we were talking about in the pre-market if you joined us. Monster volume, it's worth saying, about 5 times or so relative volume for Disney, which is huge for that stock. Back below 160 here, trying to work its way back towards day lows. In fact, for Disney. Tesla, same story, was flat when I walked over here, so down 0.5% now for Tesla, back to the downside, guys.
I mean, Tesla trying to get up the schneid. I mean, Affirm also as well. It just bounced off 151, so a bit of a lower high here. I'm going to zoom in so it looks a little bit better because, I mean, when these stocks move so much and have pre-market highs, like PaySafe, my chart's so skewed. If we can get through 153, I'm looking to cover some in front of 154, probably like a 153 half-ish for a first leg out. Something like that's going to make some sense to me. And then VWAP, 155 to VWAP for the next leg. That Rivian is still trying to make its break. It just came back into VWAP here. So if it can hold that 110 another time, I think then we're going to get that press into 115. But the market, it's just whipsaw action back and forth, and it might need to settle down for some of these longs to get their break. At PaySafe, I'm not touching that one short unless it goes to 460. I think the long had to be at that $4 bottom, and of course I ended up missing that one. So it's going to be Rivian. It's going to be Affirm for me. I am still looking at Tesla. I always say if you trade Tesla every single day, or if I trade Tesla every single day, then I'm probably doing it wrong. So I'm trying to be very, very patient, make sure we wait for some of the good levels here. It churned through that 1060 that we liked, and after that, I mean, 1,000, that's about the only level I want to see. So either it holds right here, right now, off this 1060 area. I mean, 1050 is not bad either. Then I don't want to be touching this or jumping in front of the sword. Tesla barely down on the day, but it is putting in a bit of a range. It's about a $50 range since the open.
Like you would think that, after doing this for as long as I have been, that I would learn some lessons. And apparently I'm learning them every day. So, I mean, we talked about 202.50 as the bottom for PayPal, but what am I doing instead? Averaging into that level. Like, it's so stupid. Sometimes you just got to wait for the levels, and if they come, they come. If they don't, they don't. Like, it's just so stupid. And I think part of that is honestly sitting here trading for you guys, just trying to find some levels that we like. But that's not an excuse. It's just like I thought that 205 there, and then when 204 broke, I should have paid attention. Like, I wasn't even paying attention to this when that happened, and then that to me gave me another bottom, but then it just came through so fast. But there's that 202.50 out right there, 203.30. Our average price when we had this was 204. So hopefully, right now 204 on PayPal. So we're out of the money right now, $1 or so on this name, but hopefully it can make its moves back to the upside for us on PayPal. So we are waiting for I'm not even trying to make money on this. Like 203.50, I do have an offer there. And then after that, 204 to get out for flat, and then we'll see. So, just trying to scale a little bit out of this one. And yeah, the PaySafe, man, I mean, it's raining down the money from the bottom, but we were waiting for that to happen. We just don't have as many shares as we wish we did, but making back some of that cash that we had, gotten destroyed on here. PaySafe, yes, sir. Right back to 450. Damn it, just to be able to hold some of these would be key. Just like that AMD there. Like, look at that. You're going to have these marks all the time. I do anyways, and I just wish that wasn't happening, but whatever. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? We're on a heater this month, so let's just go over to Brendan.
Another earnings name, guys. Bumble reported aftermarket yesterday, bouncing off this low, which was all-time lows for Bumble this morning. 38.5, up about $4 since then, on decent volume, back to the upside for Bumble.
I forgot all about them. Another one that might have got missed is Bros, which is still up 10%, but it had a harsh reversal. So it did give you that breakout at 70 after the open. Not enough volume to ever want to trade this thing in the pre-market. That's just the way it goes. But it did give you that break at 70, even up to 72.50. Now it's back to a 67 level. I think maybe Tesla's trying to find that bottom. I gave up on Affirm. 3 strikes you're out rule is definitely going to be in effect for me. And I think it's a little It's a little too whippy, Load. It's a little bit too whippy this morning, and you want things to settle down for longer. So allow this to consolidate a little bit longer than it has, and then try to jump back into it. I'm not going to turn a positive day into a negative one by fighting a firm too far. I do think Rivian is if there's one name that does feel like it has a chance to make a big breakout here. Rivian has now held a successive higher lows, so I want to make sure we can hold this to the 115. It can then be a top break, but remember 120. You don't have levels on an IPO, so 120 being yesterday's high is obviously going to be one. If it can take a break at the top, I think it's a scalp to 120 where there's definitely that potential for a bit of a fade. If I wasn't patient in Tesla, I'd be in the money, but I'm trying to be patient, and that's just a clean break. It retakes 160 and is now going back to the upside. The trend is still downside. So I'm holding CGen short and I'm holding Rivian long, both in the money, and then looking for the next trade, potentially that whole price, that 460 on PaySafe, but it's not there yet.
Yeah, so we had here SoFi right here, right? We picked it out on our sticky note, long through support, or long watch the support at 2250. And then here we go, man. It's just a, wow, okay. Just a nice move up, right up to view up. So we're taking some more out. This is our bid. Look at that long, 2270. So we're looking at that. We tried it there. We didn't get any out. We're just averaged in. So that was an early position there, trying to defend that 2350. But then we actually wait, take our patient shot there, wait for it to come down, which we should have done for PaySafe, and then boom, right there, get that bid, and now straight to the upside. So just like PaySafe, we're in the money now 40 cents, 30 cents. SoFi, we're in the money the same 30 cents. So a nice move back to the upside for SoFi, and we've just taken some out. We still have a position on here, so hopefully that'll continue to work for us. Yes, sir. Nicely done there on SoFi waiting. So hopefully you guys were able to do that as well. And I think we're doing pretty good on AMD here. Let's just see. Like, I'm really surprised. I mean, the NASDAQ's still up and AMD's down. So we already know about that correlation. It was weak to the sell side yesterday. It was weaker than the market. So we are kind of expecting that. But the NASDAQ trying to hold right now some of these bottoms. So it's actually surprising to me that AMD is actually up here. Sorry, AMD was weaker yesterday. Today it's the opposite. So that's why we're trying to hold this strength out on this name. If the NASDAQ does bounce off those bottoms, then AMD does retest 143. So we are going to hold on to that one. Let's go PayPal. Back in the money now for PayPal. So remember, we've just been taking some out. So it's a losing trade for us. Needs to get above this 204 for us to really start ringing the register on this one. Oh yeah, and PaySafe. Not a good trade, but it definitely was a good bottom that we hit there. So we'll ring the cowbell, get another piece out. I don't trust this thing as far as I can throw it. So let's get some more out here on PaySafe. Wow, 457. Good looking bottom there for PaySafe at 450. What's up, B?
Crazy one from the past couple of days, guys. EV related, obviously. EV Go. I remember the past 2 or 3 days we've been looking at this one. Just made a day high there on a volume spike again. Now 11% EV Go going again.
Wowzers, that stock is crazy. I just got back into Beyond Meat, which came back into VWAP, so patient. I still like that 80 to 80.25 for a stop, but I wasn't willing to chase it, allow it to come back right into me. So if I can get a bounce off of 80, I'll jump back into some more shares to the short side. PaySafe's getting pretty close to that 460 halt price, but EV Go is certainly one that we want to be involved in. If you go to the daily, I mean, this is what you're going to look at. It's already put in a top in yesterday's action right here, right now at a 17.25. And if it breaks that, you're looking at 19. So, I mean, again, when in doubt, zoom out. And when in doubt, make sure you have those shorts. So if it takes out this, I think there's air till 19, which is exactly 10% or so from that breakout at the top here at 17.25. That will be the next entry point. It looks like, give me a break. PaySafe. It was like pennies away from that halt price at 460. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be able to get that short. And then, of course, it makes the turn well shy of it. So I'm going to have to wait out for that one.
Yeah, we actually got a nice out there on PaySafe. So not out, completely out, but we got a 54 or 55 print right there. So we'll take another piece out here, but it looks like they're following this thing down again. So let's get out one more piece out at 45. And then there, okay, nice, okay. So they're not following it down, they got crushed right there. We'll still try to hold a little bit more of this as we just took some out there, 47, 48, as we thought it was going to the downside. AMD continuing to be pretty strong here. And then look at SoFi, guys. Like, this is one that we're going to ring the register again on right now. Like, that was just a good idea today. As you know, you start getting upgraded and things like that on SoFi, and then you come up with a big report. So yeah, there's another out at 77. So we're really enjoying this name here today, SoFi, as that's really working out. What else is working out is, you know, How about Ethereum? A nice move off the bottom, now trying to take out 47.60, the day high. All-time highs on this, I still believe, was it 49? No, yeah. So 48.67 yesterday or 2 days ago on Ethereum. So we'll see if it can take out the highs as well there. You can look at a HUT 8. We've talked about that. That's probably one of my favorite ones. And then, of course, Coinbase, always, a name to look at in the space there. So a good out there on SoFi. We only have one piece left.
Yeah, I just got the turn on EVGO, which was, I don't know why we're even a third of a cent for locates, but we did have to pay for locates here at Day Trade the World in that one, so it was cheap, but that's almost too cheap. So it made a turn at 17.50. That's close enough to that quarter that we liked on not the daily, literally yesterday's action. So we'll take that one out there. And again, if it takes out that high, I think 19 is definitely your next level to the upside. So there are two shots you can take at this. If it consolidates, fails to pull back into at least 17 and then VWAP, then yeah, it looks like it could be a long into that 19, where I think there's a possibility I'll be short again. Just because I paid for shorts doesn't mean I'm going to force my way into it, but it had to do the setup. That's a failure at first level. If it fails at second level, I'd make exactly the same trade. Beyond Meat just wicked me out on an 80 break. And if that's going to be a fail break, if it holds the offer for like 20, 30 seconds or so, I might just get back into that one, because I got out of that, I felt like a little bit too quickly without jumping back into it. And I don't want to make the same mistake again. Now, EVGO, I'm not going to get back into this one unless it gets to that 19 even area. But this is what happened on Beyond just now. It wicks out, and we're holding the same level. So what happened last time, it got stopped out, did not hunt for the retrace, and missed a gorgeous short on Beyond Meat. I do not want the same thing to happen again, so I'm going to be watching eyes peeled to Beyond Meat for a potential turn, either at that high of the day around 83, or right here, right now, off that 80 level. So either way, I'm looking to get back into this one. Still hanging on to some of this Rivian, which is pulled back into VWAP, or at least below VWAP, back into this 110. The longer it holds here, these successive higher lows, the more I'm going to like the notion of potential re-up around this 111 price. My longs are at 110 here, but if it's going to put in higher lows, then I guess buys need to be a little bit higher than they were before.
Yeah, so we are now out of PaySafe, so we'll ring the register on the last little bit there as it's just breaking back down through 440. So we are now out of that name and pretty happy about it, to be honest with you. So let's just wait. I mean, we made some money back there on those longs on PaySafe, so pretty happy with that decision right there to go long. Didn't have as many shares as we wanted to, but such is life. That always seems to be the case around here. So we'll wait to see if that is going to come back in. PayPal's still hovering around these levels of 203, 204. So we need that to get upside before I do anything with this name. So right now, PayPal just chilling out. We will look at that 150 level for a firm, but right now it's Brendan time.
More positivity, guys, for DoorDash today. A number of new partnerships announced, new analyst upgrades, price target increases after the earnings beat, as we mentioned yesterday. Dash up 8% here, just made a day high through 230.
DoorDash
on the run again. That's been a super strong one that had actually made a move to the upside. Just wow, talking about Debbie Downer going from DoorDash, which is up, to DD, which tried to make the break and then just absolutely, give me a break. It just absolutely flushed. So down, easy come, easy go, I suppose, right? And this is the thing. Sometimes you want it to break out, and if it couldn't break that top, it was about $10, $9.85, $10. If it couldn't break the top, we didn't like it. I'm going to go ahead and just cancel that stop order. And obviously, I don't think a $10 break is going to be happening anytime soon on DD. Just wanted to come back to one we talked about and it completely ignored. Could it get a bounce off the 50 period at 835? Maybe. I'm not going to sit there and assume it's going to happen. If it gets down there, we'll see. I might get interested in it, but big disappointment on DD. Canceled my breakout long because it ain't happening today for DD. Beyond Meat, we go back over here. It just made a turn at 81. If you pull up if you have a 3-minute chart, which I could change it to a 3-minute to show you the one I keep looking at on the upside. I look at 3-minute charts for some entry points here. This is what it looks like on the 3, where it wicks up and then fails right at 81. So the fact that we get another failure here, kind of makes some sense to me. I was looking for a lower high potentially as well, in addition to it testing the top. So if we get a consolidation here, I may take a quick little scalp trade off that 81 level. But I just wanted to see, I just want you guys to see what I was looking at on this. And we do look at other time frames. I have my 3s up here, and we look at a 15 in the daily usually for you guys live on the show. So I just want to make sure you guys saw what I was seeing.
All right. So we did take a little bit more out on AMD right there, and not a great price, but it's just look at the NASDAQ, did come crashing down there. So for me, that was probably a good risk to take some off. We do want to hold for higher, but again, we don't want to play this NASDAQ game in case it does continue to crash down. I've already talked about this. I'm not super bullish on the market right now. So, I'm just nervous about these sort of drop downs that we've seen happen over and over again. And I still think the NASDAQ retraces again a little bit. We talked about 3 to 4% yesterday. Then we got that 1.5%. So I still think there's another 1 to 2% downside risk here on especially the NASDAQ. So we will watch out for that trade and hopefully not step on too many feet here on the way down. So we'll take a little piece out, and now we'll wait to see what happens now with AMD. So I'm pretty happy with that. And I mean, if this wasn't PaySafe shitting the bed day, then I mean, how happy would I be? I mean, Fisker right now up 9%. Like, rain down the cash on this one. Like, see, this is the thing. Like, we're getting crushed on PaySafe. There's no doubt about that. But I own SoFi. We own Fisker. We've been talking about that. Ford is rocking and rolling today. Palantir battling back from that horrible number there as I look up. Weed names back up. Tilray up 4%. CGC up 5%. ACB up 5%. I mean, these are all bag holds anyways. And then we don't own that much else right now that's moving around. We're owner of Disney, but I'm feeling pretty good about dumping that position. Yesterday at 175 and looking to get back in now. It did that crazy flush down to 158 there. We're negative on it. We tried to hold that 160. Looks like that's going to be a good call, but right now coming back to the upside is Disney. So, maybe there's something there.
We'll do this one. That PPSI, was just quickly into the chat, guys. Like, it was a triple top there at 930. So it finally chewed through that level on the daily chart. I tried to break out at 850 on this stock, and then it chewed through that level here in the 15-minute chart, I should say. It chewed through that 9, and finally, we take this triple top at 930, just got into 989, so I got a couple of legs out in front of 10. I want to see if I can hold it to get back through 10 even, and then maybe like an 11, but I think it's probably going to be worth like an ad. And when I say an ad, like another breakout at 10 even if it gets through, so I'll probably add to my position breaking out through 10. There's room to some of the prices that you had the last time we traded this, which was just on Monday. And it got up to 12 with a hard failure. I would be all out of this no matter what. If it even sniffs that $12 range, I would also be looking to cover if it looks like it's going to halt to the upside, which hasn't happened yet, but a big parabolic mover. Good thing we got up some in front of 10. Any even dollar level on these breakout trades, I'm always going to cover some for that scalp trade. I think if it pulls back in, that 9 was a good level before. Good place for a bit of a dip buy as well. So PPSI, that's working out. Still holding that Rivian and still going. And then Brendan, you got one up there for small cap recap that I didn't realize was a small cap. Take it away.
Yeah, neither did I. I was talking to Lewis about that. Fossil, very, very whippy, thinly traded stock. This one was nuts this morning. Going to be a red one for me today. We were talking about 1850, which was the top end of this range in the pre-market, and then 19 is a significant level on the daily chart. So it immediately blows right through that 19, consolidates there. I took a number of shots at the long that ends up working out pretty nicely all the way up to almost 20 a couple of times before it crashes back down through 19. So on the way back down, back to the short side, that gives you another couple of moves back to 18 now. So 18 up to 20, we're kind of stuck in a range. It's a $2 range, but it is a range at this point. If this does break 18, this thing has a ton of room all the way down to 16 and a half. Even 16. So I still have a piece of that on the short side. We'll add back into it if we get back up into 17 and a half. CGen, nice little break to the downside through support in the pre-market with 7. Give you a retest. I was doing other things, but that retest, a great opportunity on the reload. 660 now seems to be a bit of a support area. Wanted to mention this one real quick. Rewalk Holdings had news this morning as well. Earnings for RWLK. We were talking about this earlier in the week on positive news as well. This 180 was a great opportunity. It never really gave you an opportunity to get involved unless you were staring at it, but a great opportunity for Rewalk as well, guys.
I like that. Look, I mean, I love what they're doing. Came in. It's like sometimes you look at the setup and it's like, oh man, I don't want to short that stock. But Rewalk, love what they're doing. And I talk about this a lot. And one of the things I mentioned on almost all the time, like EVGO, it gets to that level. It was a rejection around that 25 to 50 area. But it's, it's one thing to have a price area, support, resistance, and another thing to then have a call or a direction that you like. In this case, the short side. Execution also matters too. So when I stop out at the previous high, I don't get a re-entry point. I've got to be thinking, okay, so it's one fail break at that level. If it's two fail breaks, maybe I want to jump back into the short. That was never part of my plan. Therefore, that's not, I'm not going to get that win on that short trade. So something to evaluate there. I still like, the higher levels. If it gets up to that 19 area on EVGO, it has to happen first. I'm going to wait that one out in case it does. PPSI gets to that 10. It's now still reversing. So this could look like a bit of a fail break as well. I mean, if you look at that, through like this 965, 975 area. But, I'm still willing to dip in here. If it can make a dip down to $9, I'll probably be buying that dip. As long as it's not absolutely cratering, I wouldn't want to get caught in the flush. Pay safe for me. It never quite got to that hull price. I mean, it got so close, like that 461, it got to like 457, 458, and then pull back in. But it's still putting in higher lows, this 430 level. Still potentially could play at that 460, which could be a good one. I see you, Glenn Bailey. You're not the first person. I think a couple of people have mentioned FSL here making a run.
FSL? Oh, yeah.
I'm just, it's like load.
Yeah.
If you type New York one time, it's like
FSL,
it just punishes you
it's
for it.
breaking 11 right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big move, certainly on fuel cell. I mean, I'm not gonna deny that. This is what I'm not excited yet about it. I'm pulling up the daily chart here because this is where I went last time. And again, sometimes I was watching this a couple of days ago, so it's not like I have memorized any prices. But this 1025, I do remember a double top up here. So it's a huge reversal, but you're still trading in the same range that it's been in the entire week, right? So great. If you have it on your radar, then you've traded inside of the range. Take your profit and run. For new stocks, I want it to break out or reject. So if it gets to this 1125 area, it could be a breakout through there. I still think it could be a fade through that as well. So it's great to trade inside of the range, but if I'm looking for something new, which FSL would be for me, I want it breaking out of that 1125. It was a hard top 2 days in a row. You saw it then make the bottom of that range 10, which I think people would have been taking advantage of today, but it still has not gotten out of the weekly the range on the week. So 1125, that would be a fade with a potential breakout. You could reverse to a long at 1125. It's just obviously not there yet.
450, I'm just sitting here looking at PaySafe one more time and just thinking to myself, maybe 450, something crazy, like that could come into play at some point here for PaySafe. PayPal though, nice bottom. Like I said, I just wish we would have waited and been a little more patient like we should have been on this name, and we would be longer down here than we are right now, and unfortunately we weren't. So, crying over spilled milk doesn't really work. So we're gonna wait now. I mean, it's fine. We're in the money now, $1, but it's just back to flat. This is initially where our position was, 204. So we'll wait to see now where it goes. But it's not been pretty here for PayPal today. But it's only down 0.35. So we'll wait on that one. What I was talking about was PaySafe. So look, I'm thinking that honestly this can break 450, and the thing about this is if it does break back above 450, then we have some designed outs, right? There's outs now down here, 430, things like that. Do we want to take a 20-cent hit? No, we do not. But I think it's going to be worth it. So I'm going to take a 451. If we break through, we'll buy some 451s right now, and then we'll give this a little bit of room. Hopefully now back down to 450, 440. So we'll give this 10 cents. If it breaks 450 and doesn't go, we'll give it 10 cents because realistically, I think we could test VWAP, which is back another 10 cents. So if that can happen, then we'll just slowly start picking away and trying to make some of this back for everybody. So just for me, I don't know if you guys had it, but this is on the daily. It's really the only stock that we're negative on. We should have held Disney, but we're still negative on that for sure. And then other than that, SoFi, I mean, let's hit the fireworks for SoFi. Great day for that, man. Back to, I think this might be all-time highs on SoFi here. Let's check out the daily chart. Yeah, so, I mean, 25, I guess, needs to get there, but we're pretty close, man. 24 and change. I will be cashing out of some of the SoFi after the show. I'm long this name, 16 and change, so we will get out of that one to see if we can help us with our horrible PaySafe trade.
So this is a perfect segue because you just said you want to cover some after the show. Well, we talked about you cover some a stock that you want to hold for the long term. The idea is to get back in.
Yep.
I sold some, and I said, ring register on Fubo TV and plug. So I sold some plug power at 41, and it's right back. It's like 43 actually. So if you don't find your way back in, then effectively all you've done is, I mean, I don't know, you didn't lose money, but it's kind of like losing money. Plug power breaking out at 43 here. So cluster 43 break could get to $50. That's your next resistance. I mean, 48 technically, but it's close enough to 50. I was trying to force 50 in there because someone just said Pfizer is at 50. This is another one, and again, we talked about. We've talked about this and dividend type of names that give you these runs. It's going to be a ring the register on the show for me. Every time it gets close to these highs, takes them out and then buy dips, because it's not really meant to be a momentum play. In my portfolio, I guess for some people it is. BioNTech, I guess, would be one as well. But fives are breaking through or attempting to break through 50. That's an obvious big level here. You can see what happened when we got here earlier in the week. It tried to get through 49.65 or so and failed. It's now broken through that. But hey, I don't like, even though this is a weekly break, $50 is right there. I wouldn't be taking a long break on this because $50 is staring you in the face as resistance. But Pfizer is going to be there in a matter of, I guess, minutes. Brendo?
10-cent music, guys. Just saw TME having a nice day here, 6%, but coming back into big time levels, 850, a huge level for this thing. Earnings a couple of days ago, better than expected for 10-cent music.
TME, okay, yeah. We've been looking at that, not as much. Oh, that reminds me about DD. Let's check out DD. I said fade that near 10. Where are we? Again, it said that without knowing where we were, but I mean, I said that we didn't want to go long today on that news, right? I mean, so what about China? I don't trust any of these plays there for China. So if I'm not going to trust them, then I'm not going to go long. So all the way down, and it's about the government, right? It's just, I don't know anything that they're saying to be truthful right now. I mean, we could look over at Alibaba. That started to go again, still stuck at 170. I mean, Alibaba's just been a really sad trade the last little while. It's kind of just hanging out. Like I thought that 140 bottom, sure, great long, but in the last little while here, Alibaba's just kind of been not doing a whole hell of a lot. And I don't think Alibaba's reported yet. It's not really on my radar now as an investment because I'm stuck long here, just about $200. So that needs to get back up.
There's one thing. Yeah. It's like Singles Day happened.
Yeah,
JD had good numbers for Singles Day.
The numbers are going to be huge.
I don't think Baba's had reported any numbers for how Singles Day was going, but I think it was record transactions for JD. You'd assume
it's not Singles Day today, is it?
Well, it's 11/11. Yeah.
Yeah, that is.
Well, Singles Day's not a one-day thing anymore. Like they've extended it. Like it's like Black Friday is extended, so Singles Day is also like a like week-long event. Like, these things are no longer one day anymore. So because it's online, right, Brendo?
Actually, I'd pulled that story up this morning, guys, in the pre-market, but we didn't get to it. So both JD and Alibaba with positive numbers so far for Singles Day. Coming up, this one. There we go. It's 10:30. Join us in 15 minutes. Juva, really interesting story here on the research side of things, medical research using cannabis and some of the cannabinoids and some of the smaller particles from cannabis. So we're going to talk to Doug, the founder and CEO of Juva. Very interesting story, though, so stick around for that coming up in 15 minutes, guys. In the meantime, let's get a check on how things in Europe are shaping up. Miss V, what's up?
Hey, Brandon, European markets are mostly positive. Siemens trading in Germany is up more than 3% as it beats sales and profit expectations for the quarter. Back to you.
Doug, guys, from Juva had retail license #1 in the state of California for retail cannabis in the state of California. Retail license #1. He's going to be on the show in 15 minutes.
Okay, I know Brendan prepares for these. So A, he has that fact, which is just obviously hella cool. But two, he's probably prepared his questions. Is there any way that you can throw in the question, why don't you make an NFT of that? Because that's cool as hell. I guarantee you that's one of the cooler things out there. So talking about Singles Day, and this is pie in face, because I remember reading this on my train ride in and then just not putting JD on my watch list. Pre-market breakout high, gives you a couple of dollars worth of a scalp trade into that even dollar, and then it pulls right back into support, and then you're playing the range here. But if you went to the strong side on those numbers, then you would have a breakout, you would have a consolidation buy off of support at 81, and then just playing inside of the range pretty safely. Instead of maybe just me getting, you know what handed me on a firm. I know, look, I can, sometimes I'll make it sound like it's a horrible day, but I just feel like, I read a firm so poorly here that I was only willing to play it short if it gave me the one setup that I love the most. And I didn't get that one. And instead, it gave you like not the A+, but it definitely gave the A- or the B+ setup here, sort of giving you the short off of the recent lower high, like I do on a small cap. On a small cap, this is a short setup all day, not waiting for the high of the day, and I wasn't willing to treat a firm that way. And I have to ask myself later on, is that because I'm a firm shareholder? Was that me thinking about my own book? I actually feel like the answer was probably yes there, and that's something that should be corrected next time. I was not willing to go short a firm in that regard, unless it was A+. I should have been willing to do an A- setup. It is what it is. We've made the mistake. We're going to move on from it. PPSI here. Look, like I said, I wanted to hold through a break of 10. I did not take the breakout, thank goodness. It got to 08 and it's pulled back, but it's still consolidating. So I'm holding on to the long, which is, I guess, the midway of playing this. Like I could have added there. Last minute I decided not to when the volume wasn't quite as big as I would have liked. I can do this and show you. But if it does make it made a pullback here to 940, that wasn't deep enough. I wanted it to 9. If it can put a lower high here at 950, and maybe like 960 or so, then I might jump back into some shares and buy the dip and see if it can make that break. There's still room to those levels from Monday, and it's been a pretty strong move up. I'm not really thinking about fade unless it fails again at 10 even or it gets to $12. So I definitely could reverse into this trade if it puts another push into 10 and can't go through. For now, I'm still riding the long train. It's a bit different than what I would normally do with this, but that's where we're at. I mean, PPSI, it was one that I didn't believe in the short. Once it broke that high of the day, I tried the short. That got stopped out. It's been only long since. Would I short it later on? Sure. If it fails again at 10 or gets to 12, those could be entries for me for now, holding on to the long trade.
All right, and we've averaged into PaySafe right now, so our average price is 37. We just took some out at 40. We'll wait to see if we're able to get some printing here up to that 45 level again, and then we'll look for the 50 break. I mean, if it breaks 50, we do want to put on a decent position one more time there on PSFE. So hopefully that can happen, but we are now in it just in case, we missed the 50 break or something. We did want to start a little bit lower there. I still don't, I still don't really think the bottom's in. Hopefully the bottom's in, but I don't think right here we're going to sit around here all day. And that's sort of the call that I'm trying to make. This is going to come out at 430. So if we just dip down 10 cents, we're going to be out, because ultimately the target is to get back to 450 right now, and then we'll act on that happening. But if that doesn't happen, then that's why we're starting to get a little bit out. So let's just, if this breaks back down near 430, we've tried it a bunch of times today. We have over 37 executions on PaySafe today, and a lot of them, they're all longs. So, we fought some nice longs here off the bottom. Unfortunately, the biggest hit happened when we cracked right there through 440, and we just haven't been able to recover from that. So we're going to try to recover now, see if we can get some longs, but ultimately, this is not a position by any stretch of the imagination to marry yourself to. If it breaks back down below 430, then we'll get out of that one. And I say that because I feel like PayPal's a much different situation. We have these bottoms that we're looking at, 202.50, and the thing about PaySafe is there is no bottom other than what's been happening today. So right here we have 202.50 here on PaySafe. So Robux, $96, 98.
That's a big move though.
Yeah, it's up 2%. Right here, 202 and change. So that's what I'm getting at here, is that I can hold on to this PayPal, which we've gotten some out here on the upside. So PayPal's actually not a bad stock for us today. So it's been okay, but much different than PaySafe, as we haven't found a bottom in this name yet. So we'll see if it can hold out, but I'm excited to hold these positions that we have. SoFi 44 cents in the money, and AMD's rocking, and looking to pick up some Disney right around here, 159 or change on DIS, as we just tempted fate one more time down there at 158.50. So I'll put a bid, another stinker down here, 159.50, see if we can pick it up.
Yeah, as I typed in the chat there, like that, the weakness on PPSI, it just became too much to overcome. So I covered it shy of that 10, and I am now looking to short. But this is what I meant. I was just sort of saying Roblox here, because you guys are typing Roblox. It broke this 95 all the way up to pre-market levels at 98 in like a couple of minutes here, and then is making a consolidation for a potential reverse. Now, wipe out bottoms like this, because that's a 93, consolidated 95, and then broke out. You got to watch out for these wipeout bottoms, because they can mean harsh turns, and they can be very, very bullish. So I'd be very, very careful with this. You have some cover with the pre-market high at 99, and then maybe 100 here. But I'd be a little bit more inclined, as my chart took some time to fill in there, I would be a little bit more inclined to allow it to do a failed break if I was going to short it, as opposed to just jumping in front of the sword. So I'm not going to make the trade shorting in Roblox. As crazy as that move was to the upside, Wow, that's pretty bullish there. I'd almost be looking for a place to jump into a long if you could find it off that 95. As I said on PPSI, it just got a little bit too weak here. And then I just said I got to get out of it. I might be looking for a short. Oops, I need 2 offers there. I'll be looking for a short if it fails at $10 again. I think it still could be a dip into 9 even, like VWAP or something like that. But that is still a fail break at 10 even. That consolidation just couldn't get any juice going. The volume really started to taper off. When that happens on a lower high at a fail break in an even dollar, I can't get married to the notion that I'm long. If that's a short setup usually for me, then the mid road there is get out of a long. You don't have to take I don't have to take a short in that situation, but if that setup is telling you it would usually be a short, well, I shouldn't be sitting in the long position in the money. I should be ringing the register and taking profits, which I did. Sometimes the best trade you make is not making a trade at all. If I fought a firm a 4th time, I'd be out of the money again. A firm is about to break the low of the day at 147. At this particular point, if we take this level out, I mean, this is significant on the daily chart, by the way, because 147 is that previous high from February, which I know a lot about. Yep, if that gets taken out, I mean, you got some 145 psychological. You probably have air to like 140. So psychological level at 45 and then a 140 bottom would make some sense to me. That's probably the last stand. If it makes a real big flush, I'm probably looking at 140. And as I just said, I would not be fighting that roadblocks if it was me. Everyone's got to trade their own book. Load. Everyone's got to trade their own book, but it just broke that high. There's some cover at that 100 level if you're still in it. I'd be more inclined to take a failed break short of 100 than I would at that pre-market high. It's a very, very bullish turn that Roblox made in a relatively weak market to try to fight that one when it makes that kind of a quick move.
All right, I want to look at AMC quickly here because we haven't really looked at that yet today. I think we talked about this 39.50 area. That's the area that we really like. So if we can get a breakthrough of this 39.60, which is the day high, then I think we can go long on AMC. And it's just I haven't loved these levels down here in the last couple of days. I mean, yesterday we kept breaking. There's that 39.50 right there that we talked about. It's actually 39.30, which is right where we're at right now. So I think a break of this 39.60 gives us a little bit of cover back to the upside here, back to 40.41 and change. So I like AMC as a breaking spot there. We did have a bottom of 37.50, but you know, if you look back, there wasn't really much here at these levels, so we could have continued to break lower. So we like these levels here at 39.60. So that's where we're looking long right now on RBLX. You're just talking about Roblox. On AMC, we'll look long on those levels there. Disney, we have a low bid sitting there. We'll look at that. NEO's taken off a little bit. Let's just check it out on Tesla. Oops, that's the wrong symbol, TSLA there. On the NASDAQ, we have a quick look. Yeah, back to 1073. Wow. I guess Elon probably pulled the rug on some of this. We talked about that earlier. Tesla right now, that bottom of 1,000 yesterday, straight up $100 from there. And now, you know, not great today. The NASDAQ and Tesla sort of matching each other. So, you know, waiting for the next shoe to drop on this story with Tesla, but still a good short at 1,100. They've sort of shown that a couple times there. So 1110, the highest on Tesla. You break through there today, then you get going a lot. As the NASDAQ trying to go back upside, which is good because AMD back to the dollar now in the money on AMD, and that bang right there back to the upside. So we've been holding out for that move, which is good. SoFi back up 56 cents, and PayPal just hovering, man. We want to get longer down here again at 202.50 if we're able to.
Yeah, and that EVGO broke the high again. It's broke this 18 level. It's continuing to run. I'm going to go to the 15-minute because this is what we're staring at. It's this 19 top from earlier in the week. That was on Tuesday. It gets up there. That's the next level to work. Brendan is at the big screen because it is, you know, it's a better looking board than I was anticipating here, but it's time for Sector Watch.
Hey guys, yeah, we are positive on the day so far. Not a huge move, but 0.2, we'll take it. Back to the upside, negativity coming from the middle here, and that is the healthcare group. Number of reports coming from this group today, mostly to the downside. OGN, the leader there, 9.8% pharmaceutical name. Moderna still under pressure as well, 2% for Moderna again today. Back to the downside, the equipment makers, basically the entire group under pressure. Industrial stocks are also red, although there are a few here on the infrastructure side of things still kind of benefiting from that infrastructure bill. Again, Monday, President Biden set to sign that bill into law. Tech sector providing the strength here. There are a few in the software group that are in negative territory off of earnings, but the semiconductors offsetting that, and then some. Same story with hardware equipment makers. Consumer discretionary names also back to the upside today. Some of the hotels are higher, although I did notice that I don't see them here now, but some of the airlines a little bit negative so far today. There's GM, there's Ford, both in positive territory. Tapestry with a big move, 8.7% for Tapestry off a good report. Far corner over there, that's Disney, almost 8% to the downside. Right beside it here in the materials sector, FCX, Freeport, 8% higher, so offsetting each other. Overall, though, we are positive. We'll take it. About 0.2, guys, for the S&P.
Yeah, that's not what they mean by diversified portfolio. The whole notion of being diversified isn't so that you have something go up 8% and another thing just happens to go down. Like, I hold Disney shares and I hold Freeport, so you won't see me exactly celebrating those two things. But I guess in some ways it is talking about diversification, I suppose. That's the best I can do there. Fuel cell, which is one that we mentioned, I would be, if this same double top was off of that 11.25, like maybe like 10 cents higher, I'd probably already be in a short position here, but it's still holding the top end of the range. This is what I'm getting at. You go into earlier in the week, this is at the 11.25 level. It's still testing into here, and this is what I meant by not loving an $11 break earlier on. You're still sort of fighting it here. Yeah, could it break out? And if you're holding $11 and it breaks 11.25 and then goes to 11.50, is $11 better than 11.25? Sure. But sometimes I'd rather be long off of that momentum break as opposed to sort of gambling that it's going to happen, because I still think if it rejects 11.25, then it's trapped 11 longs. It's trapped longs that took this double top here at 11.07 or 11.08. You have a lot of longs trapped. It's trapped the dip buys here at 10.90. So I always go to the higher time frame. I'm still waiting for 11.25. I'm still waiting on Lucid to go to 45. Looks like, I'm sitting here in this Rivian long when Lucid is basically saying, hold my beer, continue to run to the upside at highs of the day, while Rivian is still back at this 111. I've taken some out of that Rivian, so it's not like I'm sitting there not taking any profit, but I'm looking for it to do what Lucid is doing now. I still think 45 is a monster level here, at least on this week. If it gets through this, I think there's a bit of a chance that it makes a reverse. I'd short off that one. Bless you, Sean.
Thank you.
It is what it is. He sneezed. Anyways, 45 there. It's a definite reversal to a long. If the short fails on Lucid at 45, it is a reversal for me to the long trade. But I am going to go short first if Lucid gets up there.
AMD.
Money.
Yeah, it was actually funny because we talked about it. My target is going to be up here at 143. So I think this is probably worth taking right now. The NASDAQ battling all the way back up. We have just seen a monster move up on AMD. So we are now $1.80 in the money on this name, and we love AMD. So, it pains me to take it out because when we take these out, it generally tends to keep going higher and higher. So on that note, maybe there's a level that we can get out on the downside here. We'll check out. Not really. I was looking where VWAP was on the 1 minute. There's nothing there. And I don't want to get this out at 142.50. So let's just see if we can take out the high again, 143.20, something like that. The NASDAQ keeps going, man. No reason for this name not to keep going as well. So there it goes, AMD. Congratulations, anybody holding that long. Congratulations, anybody that was able to buy PayPal down here as well, as that's starting to go. And I did want to check NEO. We talked about that before. Oh, someone asked about Snap. So I'll do Snap here because I saw that and I don't want to reject, even though I don't think it was a super chat, but someone just, thank you, Brian James. God bless. Okay, yeah, God bless you as well, and you and yours. Now, Snapchat upside here, 1 minute chart, 54. So I've always thought that this was going to be a name to buy. I've never bought Snapchat. I've never held Snapchat here, but on a 20-minute chart, we did make these bottoms at 52. So if you can get back into there, maybe something. Looking for a break level. You're actually right here, right now. This is not bad here. Whoa, shoot. There's that big dump down. It's these levels right in here, 50. Yeah, so we're right here right now, 54. Whoever identified this is pretty good. 54.20. I think this is a good breakout level for Snapchat. So if you're interested in that one, good on you. But there goes AMD, man. It just cracked up. Now we're $2 in the money at its day high here for AMD. So that's been a very, very profitable name for us here today. Yes, sir. $2 in the money on this AMD. We're waiting for PaySafe to pop as well. But right now we got a very, very special, and we talked about that. The license, the first. It's going to be interesting to hear about this story. Let's go over to Brendan at the big desk.
Make an NFT.
All right, thanks so much, guys. Yeah, Juvalife is a natural cannabis-focused company working to develop natural products from the molecular level of cannabis. I'm going to let Doug talk about it because it's a very interesting story. Doug, thanks for joining us today. Again, as we mentioned, it was retail license #1 in the state of California. So tell us a little bit, first off, about your background maybe in the cannabis industry, and then we'll get into Juvalife.
Yeah, absolutely. And for correction, not necessarily retail license. We were first permit ever issued in the state of California for manufacturing and extracting cannabis from one of my previous companies back in 2016. With that said, Juvalife is, I'm so excited about Juva. Juva is truly a vertically integrated, founded as a cannabis company that has seen exponential growth, harvesting more than we've ever harvested before. Construction's finishing up on one of our facilities to double our annual output. Deliveries up 300% over last year. So we're literally smashing it on every level. But the real special secret sauce here is our life science research division that we have just hit some massive home runs on. Recently made an announcement specifically targeting the small molecule inflammation targeting components of cannabis. So while most of the world's looking at cannabinoids, terpenes, combinations of them, entourage effect, which we can talk about in a minute, at the end of the day, we believe that there are, in addition to that, a singular molecule or single molecules that trigger the mode of action in the human body, specifically for inflammation, which is hundreds of billions of dollar global market and is literally the holy grail for the pharmaceutical industry to find a stable small molecule that regulates inflammation in the human body.
And there's been so much said and so much written and talked about, the connection between inflammation in the human body and cannabis, CBD specifically. We'll discuss a little bit further what the company is working on here, but I want to talk a little bit about the team that you have assembled to conduct this work, Doug, because it's very impressive.
Oh, these some of the world famous scientists, clinicians, researchers. One of the former directors of oncology, Dr. Sanjeev Gangwar. He's my vice president of chemistry. He came from Bristol Myers Squibb as their director of oncology. He has co-invented some of the most famous drugs that you'd see on the market today. Dr. Guy Miller, double PhD. Sold one of his former companies to Johnson & Johnson for over $1 billion. The former president of the U.S. Breast Surgeons Society of America, Dr. Peter Beisch, sits on our advisory board. The founder of TME, which they are literally the educators of the educators for disruptive oncology therapeutics. So we've assembled a team of world famous non-cannabis folks to understand and unlock the real mysteries of why cannabis works and what are the modes of action and how do we regulate inflammation. And we've publicly announced our finding and patenting of one, and we have some future announcements to come out just in the coming week.
I think that's an important fact and one that people might not be aware of, and worth noting that these are people with experience outside of this industry, specifically working towards something, using this product. So that being said, as we mentioned, $600 billion potential inflammation market when it comes to these small molecules in cannabis. Tell us a little bit about, what exactly we're talking about here and how it, has such a positive effect in the human body.
Yeah, absolutely. What we're talking about specifically, and this is what's so groundbreaking, is we are specifically looking for stable, small molecules isolated out of the cannabis plant that are not cannabinoids and are not terpenes. That is a pivotal component there. And when we compare these, we're comparing these to like an aspirin, Acelaboxis, some of the FDA-approved drugs. Some of them have higher toxicity profiles. Tylenol is fairly safe with a fairly low tox profile, but it also isn't very potent for a lot of folks. So when you look at these couple of avenues, or you would then look at like things like Humira, protein-based injection drugs that also have a somewhat higher toxicity profile, and you have to go to a physician, you have an injection, and they regulate not all of the cytokines. Those are kind of the pathways of inflammation in the body. They regulate just a few of them. So we've really found something that we believe is truly groundbreaking, and we are taking it through its next drug development pathway.
This is obviously, you know, an area that might not have necessarily a lot of research at this point done in it, but these are, you know, components of this plant that can be found in other products. Tell everyone, you know, where, if we were looking right now, would be the best place, or what kind of product, I guess, would be the best place right now to find some of these molecules?
Specifically what we have, there are no products on the market. So there are no commercially available products that use our molecule or the small molecules that we've identified to regulate inflammation in the body. That is why this is truly groundbreaking. There are lots of people who are researching and have products that have THC or CBD or cannabinoids, pain, inflammation, any of those things. This is not that. This is absolutely not that. This is literally taking it to the next depth level, which becomes a pharmaceutical API after we go through the safety and tox data, which is our progress that we're currently on.
Yeah, and I want to make sure people understand, you know, we're not talking about, you know, CBD that you go and get from the store on the corner. This is a whole new, and as I said, not necessarily a lot of research done on it, area of this plant. So as we said, the company operates in 6 different divisions, vertically integrated top to bottom, from cultivation right through to delivery. Tell us a little bit more about other areas of the company.
Yeah, we have a huge cultivation facility out in the city of Stockton. It's beautiful, state-of-the-art facility. It's producing quite a large volume of cannabis. We harvest every 21 days now, and coming in January, we'll finish our construction, which will allow us, we're in the last 18% of our construction budget to more than double our annual output. So we'll be harvesting every 10 days starting in the future. If we're looking at just basic numbers, you know, year to date last year, we were tons of construction. We were only about 500,000. Year to date this year, we'll close this year out close to about 5 million, a little over 5 million. And we're expecting closer in the 12 to $16 million in revenue next year, just from our commercial operations. So those are not touching any of the research life science side, which we're progressing, which that's where the real blue sky of this company is the licensing and acquisition opportunities that we're seeking.
More information, guys, go to juvalife.com. Great website, great information on their website. The stock is JUVA, listed on the CSE, also an OTC listing in the U.S. Doug Chlopek, founder, CEO of Juvalife. A pleasure. We look forward to an update in the future.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Have a great day. Juvalife, guys, really interesting research being done there.
Absolutely. Thank you there, Brendan, for another fantastic interview. And oh goodness, we have only 5 minutes to go here before we send you guys off to Trader Pratt and Miss V. Should be it should be a fun afternoon because the market just bounced back to the upside. Rivian finally made the break, so we got up to that 115 mark again. Like I said, I was going to cover in front of the high because the top end break here could be its own trade. It got to 116.29. Really, if you look at most of the resistance, it's at this 115 mark, which actually sits here on the offer, was just a refresher at 115. So strong move for Rivian. It's now up 14% again on the session, looking to make a breakout. And then there's nothing to look at past these highs. 120 was yesterday's top. So, I mean, if you could come up with a better number than 120, it's probably 125 and psychological numbers like that, because resistance should be there as well. I like the breakout to the current high. I probably would take that to 120 and then look for a breakout at 120 and start making separate trades on Rivian. Only thing I'm left in is that CGEM, which I could be short all day.
We'll hit the siren right now because there it is, AMD right now, just taking out highs. And I mean, this has just been such a good stock for us, man. We'll blow up some money right there. Bang, there it is, man. Throw some money around on this one because up to 143 and change. I will probably get out if it breaks 143, but that's AMD right now. Nice upside move there. PaySafe has been bouncing around, and we've been pretty lucky because our average price is 37. We just got a couple times out at 42s and 43s there on a bump back up. It's trying to hold 30, but again, just that's going to be the out. So just touching on some of the positions we have. We are waiting to get longer at 202.50. Unfortunately, it only goes to 70. We're waiting at 50, so we're trying to be patient with PayPal. It did rip again into the money for us, but we'll wait on it. I still think we can take out some higher highs here on them, which means we take out 206. So hopefully that can happen on that name. And other than that, man, I mean, yeah, good day today. Fisker, wow, Fisker now. Look at Fisker. Fisker up to $21 right now. Sorry, I shouldn't have said up 20, up to 20. up 11% right now. Yeah, Rivian still goes, man. You guys know we've made only one trade on Rivian, and it was a good one down there at 108. And again, on the sticky note is Rivian talking about just going long today. That's it. So there goes Rivian. Nice move to the upside, and we're happy about it because of Fisker. And like Fisker's just nicely up to the upside. We just talked about that $21, and there goes Rivian. This is our only trade today on that name. It's a pre-market long at 108, and we got out at 112.50. So 450 there. That's what we're up clean on Rivian right now on one trade. So wow, taking out the highs. Watch out for that 120 where we were at yesterday, guys. But that's that. So yeah, so far so good here today. The only mistake, obviously, was PaySafe. But I'm going to try to get that money back. So come back, guys, at 3 o'clock or 2 o'clock, and we'll talk more about PaySafe.
Yeah, and of course we'll be all day long. So we're going to go to Trader Pratt and Ms. V, of course. But at 117, so that break at the high of the day. Look, it's a random number. It's 116.30. So when it gets to 117, I'm going to scalp out in front of that even number. If I can get a re-entry point rather than a dip buy, I think I like a break of the current high. It tried to take 117, got to 117.20. I'd rather get back in on a breakout of 117.20 and continue to just scalp the trade all the way to that 120 resistance mark, which we anticipate to be resistance. It doesn't mean it has to be, but definitely there's not many other levels to work off of. Brendan, it's been a good earnings week. There's been a lot to go to, but it's not quite as crazy as the rest, but there's still a lot of names that should interest people here on the earnings front.
We've covered most of the big ones at this point for this earnings season, guys, but that's what is coming up tonight and tomorrow morning.
So, I mean, we talked about Lordstown in relation to some of the other names that have been going absolutely gangbusters today, and you should know a few of them. But hey, guess what I see there? It's backed to the future. So watch out for some of these previous runners when they report. You know they're going to move. Blink Charging going to be on there, and then Funware, which I know some people are going to be involved in. Coupang, I wouldn't necessarily sleep on that, but you got to think about Lordstown in the middle. You guys know the other one that's in the middle of that chart. No matter what happens to Sundial, I will always favor the short.
On Sundial?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Sundial's been a nightmare. Some of these cannabis plays, definitely big-time nightmares. Yeah, so some big trade. I wasn't even paying attention to that board. Sorry, it was busy trading. But
a lot of small cap.
Okay, so a lot of small cap names. But we're going to be back tomorrow regardless. So get ready to rock and roll. Hopefully we can make some money back here today, and then we'll see where we go. But so far, so good. Really, really happy. I'm interested to see what day it is. So when we're ready with Ms. Via and the day, let's go check it out. But let me know. There we go. Okay, what's up, V?
Hey guys, thank you very much for spending this morning with us. I hope you found great trading opportunities, and trading day is all ahead, so please join me and Pratt for Memes and Movers to keep trading in discussing all the hottest stocks of the day. Please make sure you like this video because your support means so much to us, and happy Remembrance Day, everyone.
There it is. Yeah, I kind of set that one up. We knew that was going to be a Remembrance Day, so obviously respect to everybody that's involved here, and it's a special day for Canadians, as it is for I hope for everybody across the world. So happy Remembrance Day. And I guess Veterans Day.
Yeah, exactly. And if you get an opportunity to, and you see a veteran, then make sure that you give your appreciation if you can in person. I think it's one of those things to do. We are going to be doing a moment of silence at 11 o'clock, which is coming up in about 10 seconds or so. In honor of that, then we'll send you directly over to Trader Pratt and Ms. V for Memes and Movers. But yeah, here we go. In about 5 seconds, we're going to do a moment of silence for our veterans out there.
Happy Remembrance Day to.
Wow.
Let's Rob and Lucas figure that one out.
We'll hang out here for a second while we get Trader Pratt and Miss V back in ready.